Alrighty, well, here we go for a Super Saturday. Hopefully it is a good one. Hey guys, how you going? So down BKRsport, we are live as the Newcastle Knights will be taking on the New Zealand Warriors at McDonald Stadium in Newcastle for the first away trip of the season for Warriors fans, and I think the first home game of the season for Knights too. No, I think they. Oh, hold on. I just realised that my audio is... Well, my microphone's connected, but my headset is not connected. Actually, hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out... Is this the first Knights home game? I feel like it actually is. I feel like it is. Yeah, they played... They play... Yeah, well, they've had a home game. This is why I got confused in my brain. They were the home team against the Cowboys when they played in Las Vegas. So they have played a home game. Don't you bullshit me, son. They have played a home game, but it was in another country. It was in Las Vegas when they won 28-18 over the Cowboys, and the other game they did play was at Brookvale. But this is the first time we have seen in Newcastle at McDonald Stadium, and that is kind of what we've seen from the Google AI, ChatGPT draw scheduling this year, where the Sharkies have... no, not the Sharkies. The Warriors have played both their home games. The Knights have been... Anyway, long story short, I think it's good to schedule. I think it's good to schedule. I am doing my best to survive right now. I had a big night last night, but we've got a big day of rugby league to get through today. 3 games, obviously Knights versus the Warriors now. After this, I think we've got the Sharkies versus the Dolphins at Cronulla, Sharky Park. Yes, we do. And then final game of the day will be the Rabbitohs versus the Tigers at Polytech Stadium in Gosford. So big day of rugby league, plenty to get into, plenty to devour, and I do believe we've genuinely been robbed of a really, really good matchup here because of the injuries to the Knights, where Dylan Brown isn't playing here today, Fletcher Sharp isn't playing here today, and Kalen Ponga isn't playing here today. So their 3 literal best players are all out, and they've had such a positive start to the season, Newcastle. I've really liked it. You know, I did tip them for last position at the beginning of the year, and the reason being, and I'll say this again next year, I said this last year, say it this year, when I do my ladder predictions, I typically put the team who came last, unless it's my team, but I'll typically put the team who came last the previous year into last for the next year on the basis that I need to see the adjustment and the change happen before I can believe that they're going to be a better team than what they were in the previous year. And the Knights have really gone and done that. They've shown that adjustment. They've shown under Justin Holbrook that they do have a lot more flair in them, especially when they do have their full fit team out in the park. They've had 2 good wins against the Cowboys and Manly. With due respect, though, the Cowboys and Manly have looked awful this season and haven't looked like they've had that care factor at all, especially Manly in round 2. There was so many problems with them, so much wrong with how Manly were operating. So I do keep an eye on the fact that the Knights have played 2 teams that have just simply not been that great at all. But the Knights probably would have lost those games last year. So the point is that they are still looking better, and I'm already happy to take them out of that bottom spot, and I'm probably, putting them around that. Maybe like a long-term season-wise, I'm still probably thinking around 15 through 11, but that is still a positive season compared to where they were last year. I just think there are a lot of other better teams right now. With that being said, it's just so hard to predict this competition. It is so difficult. I can't get a tip to save my life right now. I can't get a tip right to save my damn well life right now. Warriors, if you screw me today, I might cry. In this round so far, obviously everyone tipped the Storm last night. Everyone tipped the Storm last night. And they obviously went and lost to the Broncos, who hadn't won a game so far this season. Hadn't won a game. Go down to Melbourne, beat Melbourne. Unbelievable. Then you got the Panthers Roosters. At least I got the Panthers right. I think a lot of people actually would have also tipped the Roosters. That would have been relatively 50-50, but I at least got the Panthers right, so take that. And then I got the Raiders versus the Bulldogs wrong. I'm never tipping the Raiders again, I don't think. I don't think so. Because I tipped the Raiders last week against the Wires, and they got absolutely slapped up to oblivion. And then I tipped them this week against the Bulldogs, and they didn't get slapped up to oblivion, but, they lost. Who the Raiders play next week against the Sharks? Oh, that's a game that you just don't know. The Raiders always seem to beat the Sharks, but the Sharks should realistically be the team. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm in a schmozzle early part of the season, but I love it. I love being in a schmozzle with tips because it means that it's exciting competition. You don't know what's going to happen, and things are just quickly adjusting left, right, and centre where you just don't know what you're going to get. But let's get into the 2-team lineups here for today's game. Like I said, we'll be live for the following 2 games as well. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get into it. This is at McDonald Stadium in Newcastle. The Knights coming to the game from 5th position. That might have changed now. This is based off of the pre-round 3 ladder, sorry. So the Knights coming from 5th position. The Warriors are in 4th position at McDonald Stadium. The ins here for the Knights: Cody Hopwood and Tyson Gamble. Big outs, man. Dylan Brown and Kalen Ponga. The fullback is Fletcher Hunt, with the wingers being Dominic Young and Greg Martiu. Centres of Dane Gagai and Bradman Best. The 5'8" is Tyson Gamble. We see him come back into the team. Tyson Gamble, this is actually a bit of a problem with Knights, where they have had so many different halves combinations and halves pairings over the recent few years. But what people refuse to talk about is a lot of the time it is forced changes due to injury. Yeah, obviously Callum Pong came into the 5'8" position and didn't really play too well, and I think he did actually pick up an injury at some point as well. They've moved him. There was Jackson Hastings at points. There was, obviously now there's been Dylan Brown, there's Sandon Smith, there's Fletcher Sharp, there's Tyson Gamble. I'm sure that Tex Hoy probably played in the 5'8" at one stage of his career. I'm not too sure. But the point of the matter is that this halves pairing changes dramatically. And sometimes it is decision, and most of the time it is due to injury. But it is just their most injured position in the 17. Sandon Smith, or 19 now. Sandon Smith is the halfback, with the front rowers being Jacob Saifidi, who is captain, and Trey Mooney. The number 9 is Phoenix Crossland. You go to the back row of Dylan Lucas and Jermaine McEwen, with the 13 being Matt Croker, who was originally on the interchange. Now he's in the 13. This is every week now. I don't even know why they bother naming him as the interchange and then swapping with Tyson Frizzell to the interchange, who is normally the starting 13. So I don't know why they do this, but they should just put him as the number 13 in general. Frizzell on the bench alongside Thomas Kant, Pasami Saulo, Francis Manula, Harrison Graham, Cody Hopwood, and the coach is Justin Holbrook. It's a nice team again. They've looked positive this year. Regardless of who they've played, they just simply have looked positive, and it's been great to see some attacking rhythm in this team, when last year their attack honestly gave you an STD watching. It was so bad to watch their attack in 2025. Knights fans will attest to this. Their defense was good, really good for the first half of the season. Dropped off a cliff. Obviously, they've changed their defensive coach now. This is going to be an interesting game here actually today for the Knights on the defensive side, because normally you wouldn't be talking like that with the New Zealand Warriors. They are not an attacking roster. They are just simply not an attacking team, and that is backed by stats from the last couple of years. But then this year, they got 82 points in their first 2 games, 42-18 win over the Roosters and 40 points to 6 win over the Raiders. When you have those question marks about the Warriors, that was fine to have pre-season, because we hadn't seen those 2 results just yet. But now that we've seen those 2 results, and their defense is still looking really good, and yet they've still been able, and then they've been able to improve their attack to an 82 points across 2 games against 2 decent opposition. Raiders minor premiership last year, and the Roosters came to the top 8 and were expected big things this year. They're looking a little bit dodgy right now after that loss to the Panthers. But the point of the matter is that the Warriors have improved their attack. I'm still waiting on the consistency. This is why you wait 5 to 7 rounds, because 2 rounds doesn't just give you an overall season outlook. Look at the Melbourne Storm, for example. They go and beat the Parramatta Eels 52-4 down in Melbourne. They then go and beat the Dragons 46-20 in St. George, in Wollongong, which does have a few bit more context involved in it. If you watch the game, you know the Dragons kind of were the ones who actually threw that game away, and last night kind of proved that. But the Dragons threw that game away, and the Storm were able to capitalise on all their errors in that last 20 minutes. They were down 20-16 with 20 minutes to go, and then they scored 30 unanswered points, the Storm. But then last night against the Brisbane Broncos, they led 14-0 at half-time, and then lost 18-14. So that's why if you had have just gone based off of the first 2 games, the Storm are going to win the damn World Cup, aren't they? They're just simply going to go and win the Cup. They've scored 98 points across 2 games, and yeah, okay, sure, they gave up 24 points, but 98-24 on a points differential, that's amazing stuff. But then they go and lose to the Broncos, who had not won a game so far, and also lost to that Eels team that the Storm beat 52-4, lost to them at Suncorp Stadium, 40 points to 32. So that's why you can't read the early part of the season. You need a group of games to judge your opinion based off of. And with the Warriors, I do need to see that this attack is going to keep on going. Obviously, they've got incoming questions when Luke Metcalf comes back and what they're going to do with their halves and whatnot. But to go back to the Knights here before we do get into the Warriors breakdown, the Knights, defensively, I still don't know about them. I still don't know. They have given up 16 points to Manly and 18 points to the Cowboys. Again, 2 teams that aren't looking good so far this season, whilst the Warriors are looking really, really positive. They're just lucky that they're potentially inconsistent there. So 34 points from 2 poorer teams is a sign to say, well, when they come up against these really good attacking teams, they still might get some points put past them, and will the attack work for the Knights? Maybe not necessarily when they don't have Dylan Brown, Fletcher Sharp, and also Kalen Ponga. That's a big issue. So, look, I'm happy with where the Knights have come so far in this season, the first 2 games. Let's wait a few more games. This is going to be a tough one with their players out. The Warriors, their ins, Alofiana Khan-Pereira, Luke Hanson, Marata Niokore, and Mitchell Barnett comes back into the team. So some massive ins here for the Wars. The outs, Adam Pompey, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Chance Nilukstad, and Eddie Jeremiah Tawava. The fullback is Tane Twelpiki, with the wingers being Dallin Martinez-Zalesniak and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. Go to the centres of Ali Leotawa and Leka Halasima will shift into the centres here today. You go to the 5'8", Luke Hanson, with the halfback being Tanner Boyd, so the New Zealand Warriors New South Wales Cup halves pairing, who won the comp last year in the lesser grades. Well, not lesser grades, I shouldn't say lesser grades. Well, it is lesser grades, but it's not younger grades because it's a reserve grade. I couldn't even think of the word. Again, I'm trying to still survive after a big night, so forgive me. But the reserve grades, these guys were the halves pairing, I believe, who won the New South Wales Cup last year. So let's see how they get on here with no Harris-Tavita in the lineup. Go to the front row forwards of James Fisher-Harris, who's the captain, and Jackson Ford, with the number 9 being Wade Egan. The back row is Jacob Laban, and Morgan Gannon comes into the starting back row. And then we move across here to the 13, which is Aaron Clark. I'll read that in a second, Olivia. I will read that in a second. But Aaron Clark, he goes into the 13. The interchange, Sam Healy, Dimitri Vaymalga, Tanner Stowers-Smith, Marata Niokore, Alofiana Khan-Pereira, and Mitchell Barnett, with the coach being Andrew Webster. This Warriors team, obviously, good to see Alofiana Khan-Pereira come into the team. Barnett on the bench as well. We'll see how much of an impact he has here today because he is the last man on that interchange. So I'm assuming that he's there because he can be there, but he's not necessarily 100% right just yet. It's just that they might be potentially slowing him into the game, or he may even just come in straight up next week kind of deal. He's on the bench if they want to use him, but coming off of an injury, they don't necessarily need to use him there. This Warriors team, again, they're 2-0 to start this season. 40 points to 6 over the Raiders and 42 points to 18 over the Roosters. That was both in Auckland at Gomedia Stadium. Can they do it again? They should. Realistically, you look at these two team lineups and you say the Warriors, if you are legitimate, if you want to prove everybody wrong and say that you are a potential premiership threat right now, and that you're going to win this comp, maybe this year, well, it's time that you go and prove it by getting another, and I know it's crazy to say, but you need another 40 to 50 point win here. You do, because this Knights team is so vulnerable with no Dylan Brown, no Fletcher Sharp, and no Kalen Ponga. So damn well vulnerable. Now, they're at home, and that's great and all, but also home records and home statistics are quite overrated in a lot of ways when people do think about it. This Warriors team just needs to go out and absolutely smack them today. They do, because you've been good enough to do that. You've shown the signs in the first 2 rounds that you can pump these 2 big teams of the Roosters and the Raiders. Well, you can't come up to Newcastle and lose to a team that came last year. Yes, positive start, but they have also got their players injured. This is a game the Warriors would actually typically struggle in. Typically, they would. The games that they're expected to win is when they kind of slip away. So I hope they come with the right mentality here. I hope they come in not thinking that it's round 3 and they're thinking that this is a preliminary final and they just need to put their best effort in, because this team has given plenty of showings over the years where they just can't get over the line in these games where they should absolutely win. So I'm taking the Warriors, and I'm taking 13 plus, because even though I wasn't confident on their attack pre-season, I am seeing a lot more in their attack right now. Tanner Boyd's been having such a... One second. Tanner Boyd has been having such a fantastic season so far. I'm so proud of him, man, from where he's come from his Titans days. I'm so damn well proud of him to be seeing that he... Oh, gee whiz, hold on one second. To be seeing the unbelievable work that he's been putting in and has clearly fixed their attack. It's obvious. And that's the thing, when I say that there's good questions when Luke Metcalf comes back in. I even said last year Luke Metcalf is a 6. I don't believe he's a 7. I don't think he's a game-managing half. Well, Tanner Boyd is a game-managing half. And when he was at the Titans are a cemetery. They are a morgue for halfback position. The Titans don't know how to operate the halfback. So whilst Tanner definitely was not a game-managing half when he was at the Gold Coast, at the Warriors, they have been able to develop him nicely. They have been able to, put his best foot forward and teach him the ropes in regards to organising the team. And he clearly is organising the team. So he is a much better player already. That's great to see. So when Metcalf comes back in, I already thought he was a 6. So I would be keeping Tanner in that 7, and then I would be putting Luke Metcalf into the 6, which I feel like benefits his game more. I feel like it benefits it. If you want to put Harris Tavita on the bench onto the 14, that's fine. Like if you want to put these players around, that's great. But I think your team should have Metcalf as the 6 and the Tanner Boyd as the 7, but I guess we still have to wait another 4 or 5 weeks until Metcalf comes back, and then we'll get a good progress report about how Tanner is going over that period. I just feel like you've already seen the benefits of what he can provide, and then Metcalf will come into a position where he can be the floater, he can be, the creativity spark, he can be, the exciting 6 that's just floating off the back of Tanner, and Tanner is the one organising the play. I think that's the way to go there for the Wars. So, again, I'm going to take the Warriors here, 13 plus. There is the world where the Knights beat them on the basis that the Warriors come in underdone, but the Warriors actually last year beating this Knights team in Newcastle came in the last few seconds with Lega Halasima scoring that absolute screamer from 40 metres out when the ball was charged down from Tanner Boyd field goal, and then it bounced to Lega, and then he just ran and just pumped over the line and scored the try. That was amazing. Would love to see another game like that here today. Would love to see some close games. At least we got a close game last night between the Storm and the Broncos, which was awful the first half, but it was really exciting in the second half. The other 2 games, well, Bulldogs-Raiders I found it exciting. I loved that Raiders-Bulldogs game because I'm not a massive 40-32, 28-26 kind of guy. I do prefer those low to mid-range scores where there's a lot of defense involved and you need really good attack to break through rather than just seeing try after try after try after try after try based off of bad defense. I think that's not good rugby league. But I thought that was actually pretty good rugby league on Thursday night in the pouring wet conditions. I just think that's pure rugby league. So hopefully we get a close game here. I do feel like we would have gotten a close game if the Knights had been full strength. And that's why I keep saying, I believe we've been robbed of a big-time matchup here. I do. I feel like we've been robbed because I would have actually considered, I probably would have still tipped the Warriors, but I would have considered getting on Newcastle if they were full strength just because of how positive they've looked. But we'll have to see how it does pan out here. Now, quickly, in regards to the ladder, the game does start in 10 minutes' time. So the Warriors, they are in 4th position right now on 4 points. Storm obviously lost last night, which is huge for them. Now, the Warriors have a plus 58 points differential. So here's a kicker. If you win this game, you will go above the Bulldogs, who've already got their 2 points, so the Bulldogs would go to 3rd. That's just off the back of a straight-up win, because they're on plus 5, you're on plus 58. Now, the Panthers are on plus 82. So if you won this game by 24 points or more, you would go into 1st position. If you win by 24 points or more, which is a trajectory of what you've been doing these first couple of weeks, where you won by, I think, 22 points against the Roosters, and then you won by, I think, 34 points against the Canberra Raiders. 34 points in the Raiders game, and then the Roosters game was, it was 30. Hold on, 28, 38. You're 24 points. 24 points in the Roosters game. So you have cleaned that margin up both times so far. If you have a similar margin victory as you've had in these first couple of games, you go into 1st position. And nobody can jump you. The Bulldogs have already played. The Storm have already played. The Knights are there. The Tigers would basically have to win by 70 to 80 over the Rabbitohs later on tonight to go above you. And that's it. The Tigers actually have a chance of going into the top 3 tonight. They do. They have a chance of going to the top 3, which is crazy to think about. Could you imagine, though, if the Tigers got a big enough win and the Warriors got a big enough win and our top 2 was Warriors and Tigers? I don't think many people would have been imagining that in recent years, but that is an entire possibility right now. I have tipped the Rabbitohs later on tonight, but I'm just saying that the possibility is there. So the Warriors, there's a chance that they do go into 1st, but if they win, they just finish off the weekend in 2nd. Then you go, if they lose, they would immediately go below the Knights into 5th position. If the Tigers beat the Rabbitohs, they would go into 6th position. If the Sharkies, well, they're plus 20 right now. The Warriors plus 58. Also, guys, ladder, round 2, 3, 2.5, 3. Who cares? It's just to get a read and see where you are at the moment. So don't take it too heavily. You're not winning the comp if you're in 1st after round 3, but you're also not losing the comp if you're in last after round 3. That's just not how it works. So just kind of give an update to how the season is progressing along. Start to really care about the ladder probably around round 13 to 15, also 15, but 13 is probably good marker because you're starting to think about that push for the late season post-Origin, because that's when Origin is starting to come around, right? But anyway, so then if the Warriors lose, there's a chance they go to 6th. There's a good chance they go into 7th. The Sharks are on plus 20, Warriors plus 58, 38-point swing there. So they could go down to 7th. We know how the Dolphins are playing at the moment. The Rabbitohs would have played. They're not going to be dropping down below them. Their points differential's only +2, and the Dolphins, if they win, they're -6. And Manly, if they had a bye, but they're -21. So the Warriors, the lowest that they could could go is into 7th. Immediately they'd go 5th, and then it would just come down to if the Tigers and Sharks get big enough wins to jump above them on the points differential. And then on the other side, the Knights, they're on +30 right now on 4 points. Again, if they win, they go immediately above the Warriors and the Storm, and they would also go above the Bulldogs. They would be in 2nd position. The Newcastle Knights would finish off the round in 2nd position just with a simple win. And if they won by 52 points or more, which I highly doubt, but if they won by 52 points or more, they would go into 1st position. You know, what a crazy turn of events for Newcastle if that was the case. Just to be top 2 after 3 rounds. What a crazy turn of events from being the last place team last year and then to be in the top 2 after 3 rounds. That would be incredible stuff. So if they win, they would go into 2nd. If they lose this game, however, they're +30. So the Tigers, if they beat the Rabbitohs, would simply just go above them. They're only 2 points differential separating 30 and 28. The Sharks on the +20. They would just need the Knights to lose by probably 4, and then the Sharks win by 6, and they go above them there. So the Knights would be likely to go into 7th now. If that's if the Tigers are winning, the Rabbitohs can't do it. But the Rabbitohs with their +2, they would need a 28-point swing if they were to win. They would go above them. There is actually a world where the Knights drop below both the Tigers and the Rabbitohs if the Knights lost by enough, and then the Rabbitohs got to win by enough to not too much to knock the Tigers down below points differential wise, not too much, but also if the Rabbitohs won by a relatively low margin, relatively low being 12 to 14, would probably put the Knights down there into 7th position, and obviously Sharkies into 8th position. Then the Dolphins, obviously, they're on 2 points, whilst the Knights on 4. So realistically, both the Warriors and the Knights are going to finish either in 7th or 8th position based off of a loss. And the Warriors have a better chance of going to 1st with a big enough win, but the Knights would be guaranteed 2nd if they were to get the dub. But all right, guys, there we go. That is the wrap up here for today. Obviously, the game starts in 8 minutes' time, so do me a favour, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. And I did notice while I was doing my preview that Olivia's gone slap. Oh, Olivia's gone absolutely slap with the $80 due donation. Says spin that mother truck and wheel. So the thing is, Olivia, you're a legend. I appreciate you so much for the donation. I was actually going to tell you guys I was going to do it tomorrow with the Titans game and with the 2 games tomorrow. So I'm thinking that donation I will carry over to tomorrow, and then you're going to be the first person based off of the wheel spin, right? So I'm probably going to end up doing it tomorrow rather than today, because the games tomorrow are a little bit how you going, right? Titans Cowboys is. I'm scared just because I'm a Titans fan. Not because the Titans can't win that game, just because I'm a Titans fan. And then the Eels Dragons. So I feel like that'll keep it fun. You know, they'll keep it fresh and they'll keep it exciting. Whilst today we do have some decent enough games, in my opinion, in the Rabbitohs, Tigers, Sharks, Dolphins, and Knights, Warriors. So what we'll do, Olivia, we'll grab that donation, we'll spin it over to tomorrow, and that's going to get us through 2 wheel spins. That is going to get us through 2 wheel spins there, Olivia. So you started us off with an absolute bang, and then we'd only be $10 away from another wheel spin. Gee whiz, Olivia. My goodness me, you're going to kill me. You're going to kill me on those streams tomorrow with that. If you guys don't know what we're talking about here, so basically, there's 7 minutes to go into the game. Basically, what we've decided is to keep some of the lesser exciting games more fun and vibrant here on the streams, because I have noticed that when the games just simply aren't good, and when they are a tad bit boring, and when they are, just not between 2 quality teams, it can get kind of down, and I want to keep that energy up, and I want to keep it fun. So what we've decided is that we've got the wheel decider that has punishments for me, that has giveaways for you guys, like a bucket hat or a t-shirt, and even ones where there's a 10-minute timeout from the moderators can choose a 10-minute timeout from one of you guys. There's a wheel spin, and for every a certain amount of donations we get, we are going to spin that wheel, and then that will happen. So I'll either do a punishment, or we'll do something with you guys. There's going to be a lot that goes down, and you can win free merchandise and whatnot as well. So it's going to be fun. We're going to do that tomorrow, though. We are going to do that tomorrow, but I'm going to get that take that donation from there and put it over there. So we'll have fun on Eels and Dragons and Titans and Cowboys. So it gives you a reason to watch those games if you weren't originally meant to be watching them, right? But thank you very much, Olivia. Your support is very appreciated. And then Brighton Robinson with the $10 donation says 3 spins. Okay, thank you. So tomorrow we just start off in Eels Dragons and we just straight up spin. Deary me, thank you very much, Brighton. You're a legend, mate. Thank you very much for the support, sir. Thank you very much. Full-time Story says, I should actually write this down. I should write that we've got 3 spins clocked up. Yeah, I will. I'll put it just so that I remember, so that I know you guys aren't going to let me forget, to be fair, but just so that I can remember, I am going to write that down. 3 spins. 2 Olivia, 1 Brighton. There we go. Because whoever is one of the donators as well, it does mean something in regards to certain possibilities that we do have there. So thank you very much, guys. Art of Limits is up the wires, 38-12. Frederick Manners getting around being a member. Appreciate you, Frederick. You know I know. It says, let's go on Warriors. I know you know, but if you don't know, what if I don't know? But if you know that I know, what do I know that you know? You know? You know what I'm thinking? A6 Ankle says, disappointed we don't get to see a versus a full-strength team. Yeah, I agree. You know, this doesn't help the Warriors. If you're a Warriors fan, you want to play the full-strength teams. You want to prove yourself. You want to be beating these big-time teams where people aren't going to have excuses. Because at the end of the day, the Knights are full within their right now to say, well, we're 2-0, and then you've just come and beat us. And I know Warriors fans won't give a shit, but we're 2-0. You've come and beat us, but we've got all 3 of our best players out, Dylan Brown, Kalen Ponga, and Fletcher Sharp. So the Knights are within their right to use their excuses. But I don't like that for the Warriors, because the Warriors deserve to have the credit right now. A lot of Australians, a lot of people just in general, even there's a lot of Kiwis out there. I know my boy Uncle Tix, he hates the Warriors. He's from New Zealand. I think he's from Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember. But he's from New Zealand. He's a Storm fan. Uncle Tix, if you haven't seen him, very funny content creator in the New Zealand scene. But there's a lot of people who won't ever give the credit. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying in general, there's a lot of people who won't give the credit to the Warriors unless it is just straight up in your face. And even sometimes they'll still ignore it, right? So it would have been so good to see them have a full-strength roster here, full strength on full strength, and that would have been the go. That would have been the go to prove it. But now the Knights do have the excuses. Brenton says, going to need a miracle for this one. Let's hope the crowd brings us home. Aratiari says, up the wires, baby, let's go. Brighton says, if both teams are full strength, would you have tempted to tip the Knights? Maybe tempted is a good word, but I wouldn't have. I would have still tipped the Warriors, because whilst I had lacking confidence in the Newcastle Knights, I had lacking confidence in the Warriors' attack going into this year. They've proven their attack in their first 2 games against 2 decent enough opposition. So I would have still gone with the Warriors on the basis that they have improved the one aspect of their game that I was looking for them to improve. They didn't need to improve their defense. That was already really, really good. They need to improve their attack, and they have improved their attack. So, yeah, for mine, it was really important to see that. So I would have still taken the Warriors, but I would have been tempted, sure. I would have been tempted. I says, Tyson Gamble, one player I would like to see get laid out. Oh, we're getting sexual here on a early Saturday game. Getting a bit sexual here, Ice. Sean James says, good morning, mate. Get around your Shauno. I'll be in your land of smiles in literally 3 days' time. The old Thailand. Woohoo! Colin Power says, morning, brother. How your night last night? Yeah, it was good, mate. It was good. Had a good time. It's very funny, though. Obviously, being in Vietnam, the English isn't that great. So it was with my partner. We went out and with her friends and whatnot. And the English is just very difficult. So you you learn to just kind of sit there. Like, I still have a great time in the early part, but you learn to just sit there and just enjoy the experience, because you don't understand a single lick of the words that are being spoken. You don't understand anything. And you're in some, like, rural area of Ho Chi Minh kind of deal. Like, you're in a place where it's definitely no tourists and definitely no people out there that speak English, really. So it's difficult, but it's enjoyable too. Because, like, in the same sense, I've been through many countries where you just learn to vibe. You just learn to vibe without understanding anything. But no, it's a good night. Sean says, well, Olivia. Yeah, get around, Olivia. Arachiari says, with 36-18 was. Hello. Now we're talking 36-18. You're given 18 points to the Knights with no Dylan Brown, Kalen Ponga, and Fletcher Sharp. I don't know about that, man. You look at that game last week against Manly, and their second half wasn't exactly unbelievable. You know, their second half was Quite disappointing. Dominic Young got a try in the 46th minute. Outside of that, that was it that the Knights got, and that was when they lost Dylan Brown and Cameron Ponga. Obviously, Fletcher Sharp wasn't playing, so they'd lost their players and they'd only scored that one try, and Manly looked poor. So I don't know. I really do think if the Warriors are the real deal right now, they have to keep the Knights under a try. Like, as in a try or less, because the Knights shouldn't be scoring with this roster. They shouldn't. Against this Warriors team, if you're talking Titans, the Knights can score definitely for sure. But against this Warriors team, with their defense, I don't think the Knights should be scoring with this new spine compared to this Warriors defense. I don't think so. So that is a key thing to watch out for today. The Warriors are out in the field. Knights are coming out now as well. Would you agree or disagree with that? Aspect says, Olivia won a multi yesterday for sure. Big up, Olivia. I may have Aspects. I kept quiet about it because I didn't want to get Evil Eye, but I won $155. Get it around you, Olivia. Fire up. Evil Eye? What do you mean? We always support you in your bet wins, Olivia. We always support you with it. Aspect says, don't remember that Storm Dragons game? No, must not have happened. I think it definitely happened at Storm Dragons game last week. Yeah, no, I was here. Yeah, I remember watching it. Yeah, I watched every game here. Aspects, so I definitely remember watching it. And Brenton says, pretty warm today at McJones Stadium and a storm looming over. Well, there was no storm last night in Melbourne, so maybe that's just here in Newcastle. Home in NRL, so just don't rate Gamble for the Knights. Sure, he was good in 2023, but there's a reason why he was in and out of the first grade last year. Over the last few years, really. The last few years, it's been a while. Wait, what up the Geordies? What the hell is Newcastle? I was going to say, what are you talking about, Harrison? Hear me. But, yeah, Newcastle are up here, taking on the Wires, and they will kick the ball off here, the Warriors. They will kick the ball off. Why? Like, there's a decent enough crowd here, but I would like to see a few more people here, to be honest with you. First take for the Knights, they'll be at the 10. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Let me just update this score so that it is live, and you get the live score with the time underneath us, and bing bong, there we go. Score is up. Third tackle, and Trey Mooney brings it out to the 25. An organiser like Tanner Boyd at 7 and a ball runner like Metcalf at 6, I think would be a great halves combo. Absolutely, home NRL. That's exactly what I want to see. Brighton says, if Tom Dearden can't make Origin this year for whatever reason, would you say Tanner Boyd's ahead of Walker for the 7 jersey currently? No, I wouldn't. Fit tackle now at the 42. I love Tanner. Would love to see that, but no, I wouldn't. I think that they would definitely go with Sam Walker. He's been talked about for years now. I think that, not you, but just like that kind of insinuation is that Billy Slater and Queensland would be just completely focusing on the first three rounds of this season rather than across their careers. And I think that Billy Slater definitely would look across the career of Sam Walker rather than just looking at these first 3 games, which is what you would need for Tanner Boyd to get even a sniff at it, right? Third tackle now for the Warriors, and Jacob Laban, he'll bring this ball to the 40. He'll bring the ball to the 40. Hello, Harrison. What teams are you going for today? Raiders, Sean, you notice. Well, at least Harrison's sticking by his guns. At least he is sticking by his guns, the Canberra Raiders. Fourth tackle now for the Warriors, despite the fact that they have been been dribbled. Oh, Olivia, that definitely will happen tomorrow. Don't worry. Olivia, don't worry. We will definitely happen tomorrow. I've already written it down. There will be now 3 spins overall. What you mean, Olivia? You don't trust me? Deary me. Knights get the ball to the 15 on first tag. You don't trust me? Of course I get it done tomorrow. Miss May says, what kind of Warriors are you expecting out there today? I don't know. We never know what Warriors we're expecting any day, Miss May. We never know anything about this Warriors team. So, like, you get confident, you think, okay, here we go, this is going to be their time, and then they fall apart in games like this. So, I have tipped the Warriors 13+, and I think they just need to do it. Crossline will get this ball to the 40, and it's 6 again for the Newcastle Knights at their own 40. Surely you just don't lose this, Warriors. You just can't. You just surely can't. Dom Young's away here down to the right-hand side. He's at the 40. Will he get the offload away? Can't do it. Second tackle. Good start here for Newcastle. Dane Gagai gives it off to Sanders Smith. And Sanders Smith at the 30 back to Matt Croker. And Croker at the 25 on third tackle. You reckon I personally take Ben Hunt over Fogarty, but I can see it. Oh, Brent, that's specifically why I said you to the side of the sentence. That's going to be Greg Martzu now. He'll bring the ball to the 20 on fourth tackle. AC says, YouTube really pumping these ads out. I've gotten 5 sets of ads since you started the stream. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, definitely not me, bro. That's just, I obviously have it monetized, but I don't click anything to make you guys get ads. It just does it automatically. So fifth tackle, they go to the right-hand side, and Tyson Gamble kicks that ball to the 3. Nice, will score! Fletcher Hunt will score for Newcastle, and Oh no, Warriors, don't do it. Don't be that. Don't do it. Don't be the team we know from the last few years. Don't be the typical Warriors team that comes in here and struggles from the outset. Just don't do it, man. This is not a game that you should be down in right now. Great start there for Newcastle, though. Tyson Campbell with a good kick in a good area. And then just, grabbed out of the air from Fletcher Hunt. The Warriors didn't jump up for it, and it is a try immediately. 4-0 with a kick to come. The flying mullet. Miss Mises, do you reckon Tina gets longer on the field tomorrow? Played F4 minutes so far. I hope so, man. He's not had a fantastic season, and that is because his time has been impacted a lot, especially with guys like Kubai and whatnot. But it is interesting to see the minutes that are being used for him. It is interesting. So I hope so. I do. But I trust Josh Hannay. It's very early. I will trust him until proven otherwise. I will not judge a coach until a year and a half into their tenure. Aspect says, how's Jet Chimboy going? You reckon he'll be like his brother or won't hit the mark? I don't watch enough of the New South Wales Cup and the younger grades and whatnot to be able to give you a good enough response to this man. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know. But a lot of people saying, well, I'm surprised Jet Cleary didn't make it in over Luke Hansen. But I believe Hansen was their partnering half with Tanner Boyd in the New South Wales Cup win last year. So it makes sense. So 5 minutes gone here, and Sando Smith going for the conversion. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe the Knights are already up 6-0 here. There you go. Bang. Hello. Authentic says, just want to say, I usually watch on KO, but listening to you is just as good. Commentary is always on point, bro. Tuning in from Carrara. Getting from Carrara. We're talking around the Gold Coast. Fire up, man. That's awesome. Get around the Gold Coast, the greatest place on planet Earth. David Cohen says, if the Titans won the grand final, how would you celebrate? I would die, David. Connor says, let's go 3 for 3. 3 for 3? Well, who are we talking? Are we talking Knights here? Or are we talking Warriors here, Connor? We're talking Knights here? Or are we talking Warriors here? But the Knights, in the lead early. Waz are slow starters. What's their first 2 games been like? Have they been slow starters? Have they been slow starters so far? But the Warriors kick it off, and the Knights will get this ball at 3, and it will be Saifidi who brings this ball to the 15. I'm going to go quickly have a look. Oh, I've clicked another ad. Oh, there is concern here for one of the Warriors players, Morgan Gannon. He is down on the field right now. God bless him. While he's down and injured, I'm going to quickly go check how the Warriors started their first couple of games. So against the Roosters, they scored in the 10th minute, so they were the first team to score. Tedesco then scored in the 15th. I don't know about slow starters. In the first 40 minutes, they scored 4 tries and got 3 conversions with not the penalty goal. Halftime was 22-6, so I don't know about a slow burner there for the Warriors on that Roosters game. And then against the Raiders, at halftime, it was 6-6. KOE scored first for the Raiders, and then Dan Watini-Zelezniak hit back. It's crazy that was 6-6 at halftime, and the final score was 40 points to 6 there for the Warriors of the Raiders. So I wouldn't necessarily say you are correct in regards to slow starters, but how do we know? We've only seen 2 games, and one game has been a hot start in the first half, and the other game has been an equal start in the first half. Reha Matthews says, need Halasima, Zele, Mazu, and Young for $500 with good luck. Colin Powell says, yes, I'm in the same situation. My partner is also from Vietnam, just trying to fit in also. Yes, you get what I mean, man. You know, when they're all sitting together and having fun, you just kind of have to make your own fun by yourself. Just have to imagine a world where everyone's talking English. You just got to imagine a world where you get it, you understand what's happening. And then it's funny because like they'll all look at you and they'll all be laughing and talking and whatnot. And you're just like, I know you're talking about me. I don't understand what you're saying. So the Knights now, they'll get this ball to the 45. It'll be Fitz-Sackler now at the 50. Home the NRL, did any Warriors players actually go for it? Nope. I didn't see any Warriors player jump up for that ball. All right, so Gamble will kick this ball down to the 10. And Rodder Tuivasa-Sheck grabs it. Is this their first time they've touched the ball? I feel like it might be. I know they've received the ball to kick off, didn't they? Well, they haven't. I haven't really seen them too much with the ball, to be fair. Bucks' first leg of multi kicked off. Well, there you go. New Year, same old was. Well, not necessarily just yet. There's a penalty for the Warriors at the 15. Not just yet. Let's hold on. That's New Year, same was. Firstly, we've been here for 6 minutes. 6 minutes of 80. And secondly, we've been here for 6 minutes of 80. And thirdly, we've got another 24 rounds to go after this. 24 rounds to go after this. You know, that's why when you say that when people try to heavily hone in on individual results in the early part of the season, you're just like, man, there's a long way to go, bro. We haven't even begun to talk about Origin yet. You can really start talking long term this season once Origin is at least halfway through. Then you can, when you get to game 2, that's the backwards end. So that's when you start to talk about the back end. Third tackle now at the 35, and they go Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd off to Niokore, and Niokore is 24 metres away from the line. Wade Egan, he'll go to Tanner Boyd. So which side is Halasima playing on? He's playing left-hand side centre. Here he is now, and he will get this ball to the 15 on fit tackle. 15 metres out. Arguably should have been 6 again there, but Luke Hansen gives it off to Tanner Boyd. Let's see this kicking game. He'll kick this ball. Beautiful kick in a good area. Grabbed by the Waz, but the Knights will. Oh, he's lost the ball. Oh, I thought the Knights player lost the ball on the ground there. I could have been wrong, but I thought that ball came out just a little bit. But anyway, apparently not. Second tackle at the 12. That was a short debut for Gannon. Yeah, unfortunately, man, had to obviously come off the field. That was that's hard to watch there on debut. 6 minutes in. Dom Young, good run, third tackle. The Knights are showing emphasis, dude. And set restart. Set restart for Newcastle at the 35 on first tackle. I'm really looking forward to doing my next ladder prediction, like a ladder wrap up, which will be after 7 rounds in, because I definitely won't have the Knights in last. That's for sure. That is for sure. NC says, hey Blaze, do you only do NRL commentary or other sports as well? We do cricket as well, but it's very difficult to do other sports 1 second and have a life at the meantime as well. So we definitely do a rugby league, and we've got cricket. But whilst I watch all the other sports that you're probably thinking about, I don't cover it necessarily. Dom Young kicks his ball. They get this ball into the corner. Oh, the ball bounces awkwardly for Tate Tuapiki. Can he get out? Can he get out? No, he cannot. It's a dropout. What a start for Newcastle. What a start for Newcastle. You know who's had a good game so far? Tyson Danwell Gamble, baby. Tyson Gamble's had a cracking first 8 minutes here. He's been really good. That kick is pinpoint for Dom Young. Like, he was kicking it to Dom Young, but the ball bounces awkwardly, goes into the in goal. Either way, the kick was great. Fantastic kick. Which sport are you referring to? Like, which sport are you talking to you wish was commentated on the channel, NC? I watch them all. I do watch them all. And they will drop the ball there. The Knights and the Warriors are going to know. They're going to say, Warriors knock on here. Don't worry about that. Stephen says, why don't you get a translation app? So I do have a translation app, Stephen, but when the conversation is flowing and bing, bang, boom, bang, bing, bang, boom, it's just happening, it's very difficult. Yeah, it's a knock on Warriors. It's very difficult to translation app. It slows everything down. It just doesn't really work. Like, when you are in a direct conversation, of course you use the translation app, but when you're not in the direct conversation, it's very difficult because they'll just be talking and talking. You can't really get your phone out and do stuff like that. It's not a necessity anyway. Alright, so the Knights back on the attack here. 10 minutes gone in the first half. 30 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that like button, subscribe if you are new around here. We've got 3 games today. After this is Sharks Dolphins and then Rabbitohs versus the Tigers later on tonight. First tackle for Newcastle turns into a set restart. Warriors have been ill-disciplined to start off this game. First tackle, Trey Mooney with the ball 4 metres away from the line. 4 metres away. They give it back here to Fence Crossland. Cross it off to Sandon Smith. Sandon Smith to Saifidi. And he'll be 4 metres out. Second tackle. Warriors defense, you come up trumps in situations like this. They flick the ball out the back here. This is nice offload, but Sandon Smith gets an offload again to Crossland, to Tyson Gamble, to Bradman Best. Bradman Best back on the inside. 5 metres out, third tackle. Third tackle, 10 metres away now. Tyson Gamble. Gamble gets it to Sandon Smith, and Sandon Smith offloads it. That's a knock on there from Newcastle. Halasima picks it up, and he'll get away here, Halasima. He'll get away. Oh, luckily Dom Young. Oh, no, Halasima. Luckily it's gone backwards. That's a penalty to the Warriors. Oh, my goodness me. What a frantic start to this game. Halasima gets away. Dom Young obviously chases him down because he's a lot faster, and then a lot of pressure from the Warriors defense, which is good. But then anyway, the Knights will give away a penalty for an illegal steal here against Dom Young. They must have said that the second Knights play came in before he ripped that ball out. Probably difficult to do with all the NRL on at the same time, but maybe NFL. Well, Maybe difficult to do AFL. Yeah, AFL is impossible because it's on at the exact same time as the NRL. We actually used to stream AFL back in the day, but I found myself where it's a Friday night game, Collingwood versus Geelong, and Storm versus the Panthers. You have to choose one of those two games, and it takes away from the channel. You'll choose Storm and Panthers, it'll end up being a shithouse game, and Collingwood Geelong will be amazing. Whilst you'll choose Collingwood Geelong, and that'll be awful, and then the Panthers Storm game will be amazing. So that's why I had to separate from the AFL. Third tackle now at the 40, but NFL's a possibility. I have done NFL in the past. I've done NBA in the past as well. And I've done baseball in the past. A good pass there from Tuapeki to Morata Niakore, who was 30 metres away here from the line. Wade Egan. He'll go to the left to Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark, short, out the back. Tanner Boyd, great play. Jacob Laban. He gets it to Luke Hansen. Hansen off to Tuivasa Sheck, and they'll flick this ball back at the 15. Wade Egan. Here then off to James Fisher-Harris, and that's broken down. You should quickly go out to the right here. All the Knights players have come down left. Go out to the right, man. Tanner Boyd, they kick it to the corner, right-hand side corner. Up he goes! Knock on from Dallin Martinez-Lesniak. It is a knock on, and it's a penalty to the Warriors. Penalty to the Warriors for apparently attacking the arm here on the grab. Well, you'll take that. You will take that. Brighton says, what is it that makes fans change their opinion from week to week so early on in the season? Does it have anything to do with new gen short attention span? TikTok brains, they say. I will say it's one, because of gambling, but also two, because everybody wants to be right in their opinion, and they want to come up with the big takes and the big opinionated things immediately to make those predictions for the long-term part of the season. And also it will come into the point of people want to throw shade to, like, there's a lot of factors that come into it, but anyone who deeply analyzes the game and watches the game on a consistent level across all games, 6 again here with the Warriors, they're going to be 5 metres out from the line first tackle, understands that if this part of the season you need to see 5 or 7 games before you even have any idea about any team. Shots over the wires. Big A's, that's my boy Aaron Clark. Go you big bobber you. Aaron Clark will go straight through the line of the Newcastle Knights. And that's a try time for the Warriors. He went over untouched. Big, bong, boom from Aaron Clark. Yeah, look, he wasn't anywhere close to the ball there, Greg Marcy. He wasn't anywhere close. It was a deserved penalty. Tanner Boyd. It's another try assist. That's the goal. Listen, Warriors fans, I want you to comment saying thank you, Gold Coast Dan Well Titans in the chat. You got Tanner Boyd here passing the ball to Aaron Clark for the try. If you win the competition, I'm backing you in because you're basically a second version of the Titans. You're a better version of the Titans. You're a much better version of the Titans with Tanner Boyd passing it to Aaron Clark. Just get Lofianakar and Pereira on the field, and then we'll see Tanner Boyd get the ball to Aaron Clark, and then he'll get a ball over the top to Lofianakar and Pereira. Come on. It was Aaron Clark 13 at the Titans as well. Yeah, he was 13 at the Titans. He actually originally was a hooker. It was originally in the 9, and then they realised no. And obviously I know Ez, and we would laugh about this after most games together, saying he knew he wasn't a 9, but that's how he was being played by Justin Holbrook at the time. He was being played in that number 9, and then obviously shifted into that 13. But it's very funny because Aaron really seriously believed that he was not a 9, and he wasn't a 9. So it's really good that he did shift into 13, and it's been one of the best 13 since, especially being at the Warriors. Tanner will just forego this kick here. He will forego this kick, and it will stay 6-4 to the Newcastle Knights 15 minutes in. He's really making it difficult for me to say he doesn't miss right now. He's really making it difficult for me. But anyway, that is going to be 6-4 to the Knights. Tanner Boyd forgoes the kick, and the Warriors are going to receive the ball for kickoff. What's a good translate app? I have difficulty finding a decent one. I honestly just use the Google one, man. I think it's as basic as it comes, but I just use the Google one overall. I don't actually use the translate app as much. I have a good way of kind of like, I don't know what it is. I just have a good way of kind of making it understandable what I'm talking about when you're trying to talk to somebody who doesn't speak your language. Second tackle out at 25. But if I need it, I'll usually just use the basic one. Tanner Boyd bobbles it, but he'll bring it in to the 30 on third tackle. Yeah, thanks for the forfeit, Tan. It's exactly right, Brenton. It's really good that you're respecting him. That's really good that you're respecting the forfeit of it as a Knights fan. Fourth tackle, and Jackson Ford, who is top of the Dally M's right now, he'll bring it out to the 35, and Wade Egan to Aaron Clark, and it'll be fit tackle now 45 metres away from the line. Roger Thomas says, you could get a job at Channel 9. Yeah, but I'm not allowed to, one, speak to you guys there, and I'm also, Aaron Clark is complaining about something here. I think he's trying to say this is a high tackle, maybe. I can't speak to the chat, for one, bounce off the chat, but also, two, you get given an agenda at Channel 9, man, so I want to be able to say what I want to say. I want to tell you guys, I don't want to circle jerk, right? If I feel the need to circle jerk a team, I'll do that, but I don't want to just have to positively wrap a team that there is context into regards why. Like, for example, you'd never be able to say the Newcastle Knights on TV. You'd really never be, unless they want you to say it, you'd never be able to say they've played two shit-ass teams in the Cowboys and Manly so far this season. And whilst the Knights have looked good and positively compared to last season, it's definitely a positive contextually. And right now it's looking really positive as in the Warriors game. The Warriors are a super inconsistent team long term. But you can't really say those kind of things because they won't. You're not really allowed to kind of have an open opinion as much as people think. You know, Fox League, NRL 360, for example, two guys have one opinion, the other two guys have the opposite opinion. Why is that with every single discussion, that they both have the same opinion on both sides? So that it's an even conversation because they're encouraged to have those two same opinions. So Sandon Smith will give it off to Bradman Best, and Bradman Best at the 30, he kicks his ball through. The ball's going to bounce great here for the Knights! Oh, is that a knock on Knights or Warriors? No, it's Warriors ball. Take 12 pickies away here. Taking another 25. This is actually looking like a good game right now. Point is that you can't criticize as much as we do on here, but also the criticism here isn't meant to like hurt people's feelings. It's just to give a perspective of what I'm seeing and what we're seeing in general. But also the main important thing here with the stream is that we get to bounce off the chat and talk to you guys and hear your opinions as well. Titans come up for the try there. Brenton might be the greatest team of all time. Well, basically all of New Zealand lives on the Gold Coast anyway, in Coomera. So, this is Gold Coast 2.0. They go to the right, Aaron Clark, and Aaron Clark gets the ball to the 48. Warriors fans would hate that I'm even saying that, by the way. They would hate that they're getting compared with the Titans at the moment. Taintor picking right through the line. Great run to the 25, fit tackle, and it's a penalty for a high tackle. Penalty for a high tackle, and the momentum has definitely shifted in favour of the Waz here. Tanner Boyd, most try involvements this season. He's been unbelievable, man. I can't believe that he's not top of the Dally M leaderboard. I think the Dally M leaderboard is corrupt. I think it's bullshit. I think that the Dally M's, can't say this on Channel 9 either, the Dally M's is a bullshit system that does not reward what you're actually seeing on the field. How is guys like Tanner Boyd, they're Warriors fans, you'll agree in regards to Sean Johnson against Kalen Ponga a couple of years ago. A lot of people will agree in regards to Nico Hines being there. At the end of the day, these guys, I did see why Kalen Ponga did win that, but I know, I just don't feel like the Dally M system is actually purely about what we actually see. Because Tanner Boyd, I cannot believe that he's not even in the top 5 or top 10 players right now in the Dally M's. And Jackson Ford's been great, but I'd also say Tanner Boyd's been better. And Jackson Ford's on top of the Dally M leaderboard. So second tackle now at the 10. They go to the right to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd steps. Tanner Boyd again. And it's a high tackle. Go Tan, you beautiful man. 6 again, 3 metres away from the line. They go at the back to Aaron Clark, short ball, James Fisher-Harris! Oh, don't think he gets that. He's not celebrating. I don't even know why we're going to the bunker here, but they are checking it. And they're going to check this knock on as well. Everyone says, Hannah felt bad for Hainsey and Sam Walker. What a nice, generous man. Well, Sam Walker missed a kick yesterday. So Fisher-Harris trying to get over the line. I think he's lost the ball there. I think that's a Knight's arm underneath that there. That's a Newcastle. Tyson Gamble has had an incredible game. He's lost the ball there. Yeah, this is a knock on from the Warriors, so it's going to be Knights ball at 10. Tyson Gamble has been the Newcastle Knights' best player by far in this first 18 minutes. He's been unbelievable. Benny West says, too many people sit at the fence, play it safe. Fence sitters can claim they're never wrong because they don't commit. Most content creators are like that, man. Most content, and I'm not trying to put shade and shit onto anyone specific. That's why I won't name anybody. But most content creators are like this. I don't sit on the fence. If I think I'm sitting on the fence, I'll say, I'm going to sit on the fence in this one. But for the most part, I will just say it how I feel it is. It doesn't mean it's right, but I'll say how I feel it is. BG Vlog says, how to watch NRL free. 9 Now not broadcasting this match. Saturday, you won't have any games on 9 Now, mate. There'll be no games on 9 Now because the next free game you'll get to watch is tomorrow at 4 p.m. New South Wales time, which is Titans Cowboys. Get around that. But the only way to watch for free is to go to a legal streaming website, to be fair. But due to broadcasting restrictions, I can't show you the game. Third tackle now for Newcastle, and they're going to be at the 33. Dally M is corrupt. Lockyer only sees Maroon. I just feel like it's out to the right-hand side. Tyson Gamble, Fletcher Hunt, and Fletcher Hunt will be at the 45 and fourth tackle on their own side of the field. It just doesn't make sense, a lot of the selections. And AFL fans have the same complaints in regards to theirs, their equivalent of the Dally M, the Brownlow. So it's a pretty common theme. It just doesn't make sense. Like, there was, good hit there from Dane Gagai on Tane Tuapiki. He gets slugged at 15. It's just that the people who are judging it, I actually don't know what they're watching. There are some games where, like, for example, I think Vossi had a crack at it. Last week, there was a guy in the Manly Tigers game that won the player of the match off of the bench and played like 26 minutes or some shit. You're just like, what? How are you the best player on the field across the 80 minutes when you play 26 minutes off the bench? It doesn't really make any sense. But anyway, that's just a really confusing part of it. And it all comes down to individual perspectives. But when there's an overall consensus that is disagreeing with that, you're just like, well, what are you seeing comparatively? Fifth tackle now for the Warriors, and they're going to be at the 42. 20 minutes gone in the first half, 20 minutes to go. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here. Tanner Boyd will bang that ball down here to the 10. And it's a good kick. Fletcher Hunt picks it up out of the 10, and he'll bring it back into the 25. Well, at least we're looking at a decent game right now. Lagan says, would say Cleary should be at the top. I will also say that Cleary not having won the Dally M's the Best Player of the Season award tells you a lot about the legitimacy of the accolade. With that being said, though, he has been suspended and also been injured to prevent him from it. But I think it was it 2020 where he probably should have won it, but it was Jack Whiten who ended up getting it. I think it was 2020, no? Even Jack Whiten was surprised that he got in the end. 6 again here for Newcastle at the 48 on the Warriors side of the field. Scott James, what's the reason they got rid of the NRL on Channel 9? Well, I don't think the NRL ever played every game, did they? On Channel 9? Did they play every game? I can't remember as a young kid seeing every game. I think it was still just there was never... I don't think there was a 6 p.m. game originally before the Titans came in on the Friday. And Thursday is only a relatively recent time, but that's a knock on there from the Knights, and the Warriors get the ball at 25. I think they've always just kind of had like the main game on the Friday night, and the 4 p.m. game on Sunday. Have they ever had more than that? Besides the finals they have every Saturday game on. They don't have every game on, I don't think, but they have every Saturday game on, I'm pretty certain. Which is only 2 games or whatever on the finals, but still. Third tackle now at the 45. 18 minutes to go here in the first half. Good game so far. NT, I'm sick of TV commentators. Half the time I feel like we're watching a totally different game. Don't blow smoke up my ass. Just call it how you see it. Fans aren't dumb. It's because they're given an agenda, man. They're given a loose discussion point to make. Fifth tackle now at the 40. So when you hear something that really just simply doesn't make sense, it's probably because they're... knock on from the Knights at their own 3. Out of nowhere, Fletcher Hunt just gives the opportunity right back to the Warriors. They're given like a loose script. It's not like a script where you have to read out just purely. You are still given an opinion based off of kind of what you're meant to push. So, like, I genuinely, with Blocker, he'll just say things for the sake of it. He'll just say things for the sake of it, that guy. Unbelievable player in his day. Much better than me, that's for sure. But that doesn't mean we can't critique his commentary skills. You will find that there is a massive narrative behind teams like Penrith, who the NRL have obviously wanted to grow in that Western Corridor for a long time now. Brisbane, who have a major audience. Papua New Guinea will be circle jerks once they come in, you watch. Right-hand side, they go Tane Tuapiki, and they'll be at the 10. Mick Ennis will not wear pants for Papua New Guinea games. He just won't. He'll be told to take your pants off and watch those games, because that's how you'll enjoy it so much. Second tackle, even though the Papua New Guineans should be really poor when they come in, you watch. You watch. There'll be a narrative for it, because they want to grow it. At the back here to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd to James Fisher-Harris. He's 10 metres out! Fisher-Harris, no! Half a metre short. Half a metre short, third tackle. Wade Egan, Tanner Boyd, 10 metres away. Hanson's going. And he'll be taken down to the 10 against the off-fight away. There's going to be a penalty here. It was a 6 again. They received the penalty because of the mistake. They may go for the 2 here. I don't know. They may. Lagas, if there was an NRL award for the player of the decade, you would assume Cleary gets player of the 2020s by the end of this decade. Who would you give for the other decades? Oh, that's a great question, actually. Lagan, since when have you had a great question? Let me just read through this. We'll watch this set here, this attack and set with the Warriors, and then I'll get to Lagan's first ever good question in his life. 10 metres out, Halasima. He'll get it off to Hansen and Fisher Harris. Give yourself a pat in the back there, Lagan. 8 metres out. First tackle, Wade Egan's going to go to the right-hand side. 6 again, Tanner Boyd. Then off to Tank Picky. Leotawa. And Leotawa will be 4 metres away from the line. I want to see a try for Leka Halasima here. Get him over in the centre. Wade Egan out to Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark, Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd's going to get wrapped up very quickly there by Gamble. Dude, Tyson Gamble has been unreal. Won't win a Dally M point, though. You watch. Wade Egan, Fisher Harris. Fisher Harris, 5 metres out, third tackle. Show us this flow and attack we've seen these last few weeks. Wade Egan to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd kicks his ball through. Will it sit up? Oh, it's an unbelievable kick again, man. It's going to be an unbelievable kick again. It's going to be a penalty here to the Warriors, I think. Yeah. I'd take the 2. I'd take the 2 every day of the week. You either get a dropout or you get the... Well, no, you don't get a dropout because it's a penalty. I would take the 2 right in front, tie it up at 6-6. Yep, shot a goal. That makes sense. Makes sense. This game's going to be 6-6, lads. So, Lagan, to answer your question, while they go for this kick, because Tanner Boyd's not going to miss it, Brenton, and that will show 6-6. There's been 1 try scored, and it'll be 6-6. That means the conversion was made. No. Tanner Boyd doesn't miss. So you think that Tanner Boyd has missed. This is the thing that he makes you think. You think that Tanner Boyd has missed, because it's 6-4. But the score's about to be 6-6. He's the thinker. Now he is the thinker. Makes you think, you get it wrong. Bang! Tanner Boyd 6-6. Take that. Take that right in you. But to answer Lagan's question of who's the best player of the 2020s decade, obviously it will be Nathan Cleary. 2010s is interesting. Like, probably Cameron Smith, really. It probably just simply is Cameron Smith. But you would have to lean with a guy like Jonathan Thurston as well, who was incredible. But then again, he was more so like... It's hard, because when you're doing like a player of the decades, you're going from 2010 to 2019... and 2000 to 2009, but Jonathan Thurston and Cameron Smith were quite mixed in between that, right? They had both those decades where they were a part of. So would you say it's across the entirety of the decade? There we go, 6-6. 6-6. Actually, nice shirt, BK. Well done. Yeah, nice shirt. My mum bought it for me for Christmas. It's a beautiful shirt. It's really comfortable too. So 6-6 is the score, 14 minutes to go the first half. So it's difficult to have like a player of the decade because players play in between the decade too, like from 2005 to 2015 kind of deal. And then you have to separate it between the two. I probably would still just go with Cameron Smith in the 2010s. You would. And then the 2000s, you're probably going with a guy like Darren Lockyer. Not the 90s, you'd probably be looking towards like an Andrew Johns. Oh, but Andrew Johns was also early 2000s, wasn't he? Shit, it's a hard question, man. It's hard. You guys, answer who would be your player of the decade across the NRL in the 2010s. That's 2010 to 2019. Also 2000 to 2009. And then if you want to go the 90s, sure. Because I think, well, Andrew Johns is late 90s. Again, it's a mixture between the two. Give us your answer in the chat. Third tackle now for the Warriors. They're going to be at the 35. 13 minutes to go the first half. Tiger Hood's some too cheap to pay for Sky Sport, but Tank to a pick. He's away here. He's got Tanner Boyd in his inside. Oh, he didn't look at Tanner Boyd in his outside. To be fair, I was about to say inside, but he was outside. Tanner Boyd at the 30. Look at this attack from the Wars right now. Hansen. The pressure is on Newcastle. Fit tackle. Let's see another good kick here from Tan. He's going to put that ball into a good area for Zach Leotawa. Boom, 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 boom. Leotawa comes through. And they're going to check onside here. Yeah, they're going to see the kick chase offside. That was a nice try, but I think he may be offside here, Leotawa. Yeah, he is. He is offside here, lads. He is offside. What a kick from Tanner, though, and what a grab from Leotawa. But it is going to be a no try. And you can see Leotawa is not happy. He is screaming right now. He is screaming. But that will be a no try. 2010s is tough as Smith, Cronk, Slater, and Inglis all unreal. Oh, you got Inglis as well. Well, I've got Cameron Smith as my best player of all time. So I'm going with Smith the 2010s. Stop jinxing Boyd, bro. And see, listen, I've been supporting Tanner Boyd. I know Tan. Like, I know Tan personally. I've been supporting Tan Boyd since well before he was with you guys. I will stick by the exact way that I've supported this man since the very, very beginning. Because I have supported him and backed him in and defended him against a large swarm, tidal wave tsunami of haters of Tanner Boyd over the years. So I'm going to still keep on supporting this man in that he will never miss a kick ever again. I will continue to say he doesn't miss. He's never missed a kick in his life, and the only time that you think he's missed, he doesn't actually miss because he'll make it up afterwards because he forfeited the kick beforehand. Third tackle at the 45. So yeah, look, we're not going to stop with that, but the Newcastle Knights, they're going to knock it on. That's what they're going to do. It's going to be a knock on from the Knights, and the Warriors will get the ball at the 45 on the Knights side of the field. 2010s is tough, that's right. How's Hansen playing? Hansen's been fine. Nothing incredible so far, but yeah, Hansen's been fine. Warriors starting to get in their groove. It's still only 6-6 here. It is still only 6-6, but the momentum is definitely shifted in their favour. How many NRL says 2000s could be someone like Billy Slater, JT, and Darren Lockyer, even though he was really good in the 90s. Well, he was fullback in the 90s, no, and then he was 5'8" in the 2000s. It's a great it's a great point, though. I would say Darren Lockyer is more so known for his 2000 stage, though, rather than the 1990s. I'd say Darren Lockyer is definitely more 2000s. Second tackle here at the 35. He was just great, so he was great in the 90s and 2000s, but his time was the 2000s. Tanner Boyd, Jackson Ford, third tackle. 25 metres away from the line. 10 minutes to go the first half here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Paul says Daryl Lockyer. Well, I don't know who Daryl Lockyer is, but I'd probably say that he's second to Darren Lockyer. First tackle now for the Warriors. They get a 6 again. It is Halasima. No, that was Vaymalga, sorry. They give it to Mitchell Barnett. Jackson Ford! Baby! You're not going to take that try away from him. Jackson Ford on top of the Dally M's, and a try like that is going to go a long way to keeping him up there. Going to go a long way to keeping him up there, the old Jackson Ford. He will score a try. He will get over the line. And it is 10-6 to the Warriors with a kick to come. And guess what? Hey, ends here. Tanner Boyd doesn't miss. Tanner Boyd does not miss. Doesn't miss. Not possible. Not possible. Everyone says Scott Prince is the greatest in the 2000s. Can't pick best player ever decade. There's been so many real good players. Exactly. It's so difficult to do. But if you were to select someone from the 2000s, I feel like I would have to go with Darren Lockyer. I feel like you would have to go with him. I just can't see someone who eclipses him in the 2000s. But there are still amazing players in the 2000s. In like 2000s, Manly in the late 2000s were incredible. They had plenty of great players. Storm, obviously, fantastic still. I just don't think you can avoid... I don't think you can avoid saying Darren. Solol News says, still in Asia, bro. What's for breakfast dinner? I am still in Vietnam. I'll be in Thailand on Tuesday. There we go. Guess what? And it's here. 10 point don't miss, baby. 12-6. 12-6 for the Warriors with 9 minutes to go the first half. For dinner, I'm not too sure just yet, but pork and rice. Pork and rice for breakfast. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. And I got my cafe sua. Cafe sua, which is coffee. Which I'm sure you knew, but cafe. You would think cafe refers to cafe, but it's not. Cafe means coffee. Fui fui moi moi. What player, Hugo? Now, fui fui moi moi. Now, that's a player. Now, that is a player right there. How many else says even Benji in the 2000s was great too. Benji was amazing in the 2000s, but would you put him above Darren Lockyer? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I would put Benji above Darren Lockyer. But again, Benji was amazing. So Mitchell Barnett, he'll bring this ball out here to the 20. So they are playing him. What about the best forward of the decades? Oh my goodness me. Well, Cameron Smith is a forward. Hooker is a forward. Second tackle at the 25, so they'll still make it quite easy for you. But the best forward of this decade is clearly Payne Haas. Third tackle now at the 35. And it's not even close. If you want to go away from Cameron Smith and the hooker, 2010s probably is... 2010s you could probably go towards like a Tamalolo. Tamalolo or a Paul Gallen, but see, people are going to look at his win-loss record and blame him solely for that. But as a forward himself, like, Gal was massive. But it's probably going to be Tamalolo, even like an Andrew Fafita kind of deal in the 2010s. If you have any disagreements, let me know. I'm just trying to think across it. And now Greg Matthew to the 22 loses the ball, and the Warriors are back on the attack here. Knights coming up with a few errors with 8 minutes to go in the first half. Here they come. They give it off to Mitchell Barnett. And Barnett is going to be 10 metres away here from the line on first tackle. Knights making a couple of errors and allowing the Warriors right into this game. Wade Egan to Murata. Niakore so close. 2 metres out. There's a penalty. He's in the bin. Fletcher Hunt's in the bin. The too many infringements and they've binned him. They have binned Fletcher Hunt. He's had enough. There is a sin bin for Fletcher Hunt. He said he came in and warned him, had no response, and there's another one. So he warned him, and then there was another penalty, and there's the sin bins. The Warriors should go for the attack. You got 7.5 minutes to get through this half without giving up, a couple of tries here. Jackson Ford, 5 metres out. Dane Gagai straight into the fullback position. Wade Egan, he'll go out to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd's got Mitchell Barnett. And Barnett, second tackle, 4 metres away. He'll roll it back into Wade Egan. Wade Egan, short ball. Chance for the try. And, so close, Jacob Laban. So close, Wade Egan. Out the back to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd then Tane Tuapiki. Tuapiki over the top. That's knocked back here from the knife. That's fine. Yeah, not good there from Tane Tuapiki. The defense had clearly rushed up and were in the line. I don't know why you had to try and force that pass. Good defense there for the Knights to prevent a try being a man down. It was a long time coming, that sin bin. Yeah, I get it. Solol says, Greg Matthew has that mistake in him. Absolutely. At the time, people were critical of Greg Matthew with Chris Randall trade with the Titans, but it worked out for both teams. But I also think that we got the better option out of those two players. And I'm not insulting Greg, but I do love what Chrissy Randall does for this club over the years. Wasn't a back row at all, but when he's a versatile bench forward or even 13, he's fantastic to watch. And we had no need for Greg Matthew. We had wingers coming out of our arse, still do. So the Warriors are going to bring this ball to the 25 on first tackle. Greg Matthew for the Knights in this game was a Titan. And Lofiana Camprera, who's not here at the moment, he's not on the field at the moment. But for the Warriors, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck nearly gets away at the 40. Second tackle at the 40. Leka Halasima, he'll bring this ball to the 50. Halasima hasn't done too much this yet. Not looking amazing in the centre position as we speak. Tanner Boyd, there was a player who slipped over just then in the defence, but he went the wrong way, Tan. Wade Egan gets it to Vaymalga. Vaymalga short ball to the line for Jackson Ford. It was nice from Luke Hanson to follow that play up just then off the ball. Wade Egan, he'll go across here to Tanner Boyd. And Tanner Boyd will kick that ball into a good area here for Watani Zalesniak. Oh, he will score, but they're going to check this. Watani Zalesniak is claiming this try. I don't know, though. They're going to check if this is a knock-on or not. You definitely have to check this. Brunel says higher picked Warriors in this match. 99% of people would have. So the onside, the kick is onside. And it will be, definitely a knock-on for Watani Zalesniak. 1,000,000%. Why are we still looking at this? 1,000,000% is a knock-on for Watani Zalesniak. How many NRL says Matthew had that unbelievable 2023 season and hasn't been able to replicate it consistently? Greg Matthew is extremely powerful, very strong. Very good attacking. It's definitely not on from Warriors first year. Very good attacking and... I thought they were going to say that was backwards off Watani. I was going to freak out. He is a very good attacker, but his defense is just awful. And most wingers are like this. That's why Brian To'o is so special, because Brian To'o can defend and attack at such an elite level. That's why he's one of the best wingers of all time, in my opinion. And by the end of his career, I think people will respect that a lot more. But... Greg is the epitome of all attack, no defense. He's just so powerful, but he has those mistakes and errors in him. JWH. So Sean says, best grub in the game, Ennis. Oh, Mick Ennis. Yeah, no, Mick Ennis has to be the best grub in the game. That's a penalty here in Newcastle at their own 15. That's huge. That's huge. Jared Warrior Hargraves. The thing is with Jared, though, Brighton, is that Mick Ennis did it and benefited from it. Warrior Hargraves, like, what Sean's thinking is, like, the best player who, like, got the best results out of being a grub and was definitely a grub, but Mick Ennis actually benefited the team with his grubbiness, whilst, and same with Cameron Smith, to be fair, but Warrior Hargraves would negatively impact his team from being a grub a lot of the time. he would get himself sin-binned and sent off and give away penalties and whatnot. Amazing player, Jared, but I feel like the grubbiness that he brought was not as good as the grubbiness that Mick Ennis brought on a positive level. Third tackle. Positive and grubby is a weird thing to say, but you understand what I'm getting at. They go to the right now to Tyson Gamble, and then Gamble gives it underneath to... I'm not too sure. Manololua for the Knights. Oh, out to the left. Greg Marty. He's over the sideline, I think. They're throwing the ball back on the inside. He wasn't over the sideline, but they got it back on the inside, and the Warriors grabbed it. Well, that was nice of Marty, but he would have gone over the sideline anyway, so he had to throw the ball back in, and now second tackle for the Warriors at the 5. Reed was the best pest. No, I've got to go Mick Ennis way over Reed Marnie. Way over it. I'd even go with James Maloney as well. James Maloney was huge for it. Ain't no one else in the modern game he waited on in the tunnel. Agree, Shaw. Halasima. He's still going here at the 25. 4th tackle. Agree, Shaw. Reed Marty is just a knob. He's a knob on the field, man. So I agree with that. But I would say the better quality grubbiness was coming from guys like James Maloney, Mick Ennis, Cameron Smith, those kind of guys who would be real grubby, but they wouldn't really negatively impact their team overall. They would just know how to get grubby without giving away penalties and giving up, things that put you on the back foot. So the Knights now get this ball to the 25 on second tackle. 3 minutes to go the first half here. Yeah, Maloney would be up there. Tane Milne, biggest South scrub, sure, but he's he's on that same level as Reed Marnie, where it's not necessarily positively impacting the team, it is negatively impacting the team. Tane Milne, what a player. What a player. Knights now get this ball to the 45. To the 45. Oh, sorry, I was thinking about Jermaine McEwen. I don't know why I said Manololua. It was Jermaine McEwen. And the Knights are going to... yeah, over the sideline. The Warriors will get the ball here at the 45. And we'll go over the sideline here. All right, get my first Coke Zero into me for the day. Obviously, we've still got 2.5 games to go, so get rocking and rolling with some Coke Zero. The Cheese would be a bad grub for the team. He's a weird one because he had some really good moments with being grubby, but then he also had some awful moments. He's a really weird one. He's an awkward player because he was so incredible at points of his career, but he's definitely not that same player anymore and hasn't been for a while. Good run here from the Warriors. They'll be at the 40. Well, it looked like it was going to be a good run, but Leotau kind of just went sideways. The Warriors could consider a field goal here. They could. With 1:54 to go of the first half, there is a consideration of a field goal. The Knights are still down a man. They have not conceded with being down this man. Tanner Boyd gives it to Jacob Laban. Laban still going here. Can't get the offload away. Awkward tackle, man. Oh, he's okay. Good. He is okay. Tanner Boyd on third tackle. They give it up to Mitchell Barnett. I wouldn't say necessarily no to it. They probably don't do it, though, with still 1.5 minutes left. Wade Egan, they will go left. Tanner Boyd. That's it! Leka, halasima, leka, halasima, leka, halasima. Try to the wires. Leka, halasima. Salol News says Coke Zero, they said, is worse than normal Coke, bro. Yeah, but see, the thing is, man, this is a really key point to make here. I don't give a shit what they say. So, if I enjoy something, everything's going to kill you. If you look at the media, mate, everything's going to kill you. So, just enjoy your life, man. We might not even survive past whatever's going on in the Middle East right now, man. So, just enjoy your life. If it's not good, like, look, at the end of the day, if you're a Warriors fan, you're loving life right now because you're up 16-6 with a kick to come and leka. How to see him with the try time. Leka the wrecker, baby. Leka the wrecker. Brighton says the Menace made a career out of it. I remember when a player would lose their boot, Marnie would peg their boot into row 15. Yeah, that is something he would do. But like, whilst you argue, not you, but whilst there was an argument before for who else has been waited for in the tunnel, besides Reed Marnie, well, I would say that Reed Marnie isn't collectively despised by an entire fan base. He isn't liked by the comp, but there's no like specific despising from an entire fan base. I want you to go and ask the Raiders fans what they think of Michael Ennis. I want you to go to any Raiders fan and ask their opinion on Michael Ennis. So that'll be my retort to your Reid Marnie waited for in the dressing room. Well, Michael Ennis, the Canberra Raiders aren't massive fans. Tanner Boyd does not miss, son. Tanner Boyd does not miss. He gets the conversion. 18 points to 6 at half time. 18 points to 6 at half time. Sofa Solomon the grub. Oh, there's another on report here for Tyson Frizzell. So what do they call the report here for? Oh, Phoenix Crossland's on report for dangerous... Oh, a hip drop on Labour. I don't know what you want Crossland to do there, though. I have to defend Crossland and say I just don't understand how Crossland is meant to do anything there. But anyway, the Knights down a man. They do get that try right on half-time. It is 18-6 the Warriors, and it's kind of going how you would expect so far. I will reiterate that I feel like we have been robbed of what could have been an absolute brilliant game if the Knights had their full-strength team of Dylan Brown, Fletcher Sharp, and Caleb Ponga, because the Knights have shown positivity. I will not tip you probably right this very second. I don't even have you bottom 4. I probably have you about 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. Between 13 and 11 is where I'd probably be situating the Knights right now, in that range. Again, you're not good enough to make the top 8. It's just not happening, Knights fans. That's not what you should be looking for this year, but I don't think that you're anywhere near bad enough to come last. Now, again, this is only 2.5 rounds in. We've still got a long season to go here. A lot can happen, a lot can change, but I do feel like overall you are seeing a lot more positives now than what we've seen last year, and you're at least competing in games. You could still go on to lose this game by 40 plus, and I did say before the game started that the Warriors, if they are a legitimate team this year, should be going on to win this game by 40, 50 points, because the Knights shouldn't have the attack, and they got that try early, and that was a worry, and now the Warriors have kept it out since then. The Warriors need to keep proving their attack. They need to keep putting on these scores. Holbrook isn't necessarily known for a defensive-minded coach, so the Warriors do need to keep on moving along, and right now they're up 18-6. They're taking it, definitely a positive for them. But again, Knights fans, I think that you will lose this game, but don't take it too harshly on your team. Be happy with the improvement you have seen. That's all you need to see. And as a Titans fan, I say the same thing. I don't actually really give a shit at the current moment. I will eventually, but I don't actually right this very second give a shit if the Titans win a game. I actually just care about seeing them improve it. And obviously winning the game is the most important factor, and that will be amazing. But I just want them to prove that they are improve. I want them to improve to a point where you can just enjoy watching their games again, and then you can go and start winning games, and you can start putting yourself into the top 8, earn your right for the wins. Earn your right, and not even remember how to win. Learn how to win, but it's not quite right about. It's not quite about that as we speak. And I will say the same thing for the Knights. They've got those 2 early wins, but if you lose this, don't take it too harshly. But let's get into the stats here. Let's get into the stats and read how this game is going. Obviously, guys, thumbs up and subscribe. Get in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking. Obviously, after this, we've got the Sharkies versus the Dolphins at Sharky Park up there in Cronulla. And then the final game will be the Tigers versus the Rabbitohs in Gosford. Not too far away. I don't think Gosford's too far away from here, actually. Gosford's pretty close in Newcastle, no? My geography in New South Wales is awful. It's awful, to be fair. Well, Peter Sterling was born in Toowoomba, so that's the most famous New South Wales landmark location. But the Knights at 6, Warriors are at 18, and the try for the Knights was Fletcher Hunt, Santa Smith with the conversion. Fletcher Hunt also got sin bin in the 32nd minute. And then for the Warriors, their tries, Aaron Clark, Jackson Ford, and Leka the Wrecker Halasima. 2 from 3 on the conversions with Tanner Boyd, and the penalty goal is Tanner Boyd. So that means 3 from 3 conversions because he doesn't miss. Then we go to the possession. 57% possession to the Warriors, 43% possession to the Knights. It does make sense. I don't even necessarily believe that it's going to be evened out across the second half. If it was evened out, this game will be red hot, but I don't think it'll necessarily get evened out. They'll still be down a man for the next 3 minutes of this, next 3 minutes of this second half. And I just feel like the Warriors will have that surge in the second half like we have seen in recent weeks. The first game against the Roosters, they had, it was kind of collectively across both halves. They were up 24-6 or whatever at halftime and ended up winning 40 points to 18 or whatever. So they still had a decent enough second. The second half they actually lost to the Roosters, really. They did, and it was a lot closer in that game than the scoreline reflected at the end. But the point is that the Warriors were able to still continue on with that trajectory. They had a great first half, but the second game was when they were 6-6 with the Rays at half time and ended up being an absolute blowout. So I do expect something like that. I do expect them to actually get to the 40 and potentially even get to the 30. But I can speak about that. You can't because we're not at 30 just yet. So now it's actually 55% possession to the Wires and 45% to the New Zealand, the Knights. Again, these will update at half time. So time possession is 13 minutes and 28 seconds for the Warriors, 10 minutes and 42 seconds for the Knights. That is horseshit. That is really terrible. You want to be seeing at minimum 25 minutes time possession collectively across the game to see good rugby league. We've seen 23, just over 24 minutes. That's not that good. We want to see more ball in play. Right now, we're not seeing a great deal of ball in play. Last night's Broncos Storm game, dead set, in the not the first half, but the second half, I'm sure we would have seen about 31 minutes of play. I'm sure we would have, which is really good. That is amazing. One of the best you would have seen because it just was constantly in the field. It was great to see. Now, the completion rate here. This is an issue for Newcastle. 80% is a minimum that you want to be seeing. It's the marker. The Knights are at 63% on a completion rate right now. We're 12 from 19. That is just simply not good enough. You are not going to win any games with a 63% completion rate. That is pathetic. They need to fix that very, very quickly. Whilst the Warriors, they're at 88%, 23 from 26. That is basically amazing. 80% is the minimum, but if you're going over 80%, you're just really happy with the completion rate, and they're close enough to 90%. It's fantastic stuff. Yes, look, 3 errors, but you've had plenty of ball, and you haven't really made too much mistakes with it, so yeah, it's given you a good sign for what's to come. Now, runs-wise, the Warriors have had 16 more runs than the Knights. 95 runs for the Warriors, 847 metres, whilst the Knights are at 79 runs for 696 run metres. So if you're looking for that 10 metres on average per run as the great marker, it's not a marker, but it's a great marker. The Knights are about 100 metres behind the 10 metres on average per run marker, whilst the Warriors are just over 100 metres. They're very, very close, but just over 100 metres behind it as well. So it's unfair to give the 10 minutes average per run for 160 metres to the Knights. That would be unfair. But if you did do that, the Knights would be pretty much exactly where the Warriors are if they had the same amount of ball. So you go from 696, you give them 160, that would take them to, roughly 850, 860. They would be just above the Warriors there if you gave them the same amount of ball. But again, they're not at the 10 metres on average per run, but they would be pretty even with the same amount of runs. And then you go to the post-contact meters. With the 16 extra runs, the Warriors have 287 post-contact, 230 for the Knights. If you even that out, it's probably equal as well. This game is actually really equal in regards to the run meters and post-contact meters on an equalisation level. It is very equal. But the Warriors, obviously, with the more runs, are with the advantage right now. The line breaks is 4-1, and the Knights are their own worst enemies. That's why they've completed at 63% completion rate, 7 errors in their sets. They're the only reason why they're not getting as many runs. It's their fault. The line breaks 4-1 to the Warriors. Tackle breaks is 17-10 here to the Warriors, so actually some pretty good defense in this game overall. Average set distance, here you go. This tells you exactly what we're talking about here. The Knights are actually doing pretty decently with the ball. If it wasn't for their knock-ons, they're probably into the 40s here. So the average set distance, 25 metres and under, you turn the stream off, it's pathetic. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic, and 50 plus is basically perfect. The Knights are at 36.67, so they're at the low to mid category of hitting the marker. They're at least getting enough out of their meterage when they're with their average set. But the Warriors at 32.66, so they're in the bang smack middle of an underwhelming category. They're not making a huge amount of meters here. They are four meters pretty much on the dot behind where the Knights are. So if the Knights weren't knocking the ball on in this game, if the Knights were not knocking the ball on, and they did have their attack of Fletcher Sharp, Dylan Brown, and Callum Ponga, I would actually say the Knights could have been winning this game at half time. I really would. I would have been saying there is a likely, with the way this is really looking good for the Knights long term this season. I think there are so many positives that you are seeing from this right now and from this season that irregardless, you are going to be a competitive team in a lot of ways. Again, you're not going to be a top 8 team, but you are going to show a lot more positives because even with your knock-ons in this game and errors in this game, you are still above the Warriors' average set distance by 4 metres. However, statistically, the Roosters have been the better team in all 3 of their games right now at half time, and they've only won 1 of those. So Just because you win the stats doesn't mean you win the game. However, there is positives to take here from the Knights. Average play the ball speed, wow, very fast here from the Knights. So 3.19 and below is extremely fast, 3.2 to 3.39 is fast, 3.4 to 3.59 is average, 3.6 to 3.79 is slow, and 3.8 and above is extremely slow. The Knights are 3.24, so that is fast, getting close to extremely fast there. That is really, really quick play the ball from the Knights, and 3.63 seconds there for the Warriors, 3.63 seconds. So that is on the slower side. Yeah, 3.4 to 3.59. Yeah, so 3.63 is in slow, whilst the Knights are in fast. It's getting up there to the extremely slow category for the Warriors, and it's getting close to the extremely fast category for the Knights. They're both playing the ball at a very different speed here. You go to the offloads, 4-1 in favour of the Knights. You go to forced dropouts, 1-0 in favour of the Knights. Kick the fusel is 50% for the Warriors, 0% here for the Knights. Effective tackle percentage, good defense in this game, and you can see it as well. You know, some games we're seeing good metric of effective tackle percentage that reads here on statistics, but is awful as a defensive game. For example, Parramatta and Broncos last week, 40-32, awful defensive game. The defensive stats weren't actually as bad as they were on the field because these are reflective of missed tackles. They are reflective of missed tackles and ineffective tackles. They are not reflective of players that go over untouched. For example, when Aaron Clark ran over untouched in this game, you know, or Jackson Ford when he basically ran over untouched, they're not really taken down as missed tackles. So they don't come up here on this metric. But that's why you have to watch the game and then look at the statistics. You will see the nitty-gritty stats of missed tackles and effective tackles here, but you will have also seen that Aaron Clark ran over the try line untouched before as well. That doesn't get included here. So that's why you take this with an understanding, but not just pure. It's 100% how it's going. So 91.22% here for the Knights is incredible. 85% below is really, really bad. It's awful. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker. And 90% and above is basically perfect. 91.22% is fantastic here from Newcastle. 187 tackles made for 17 missed tackles and 1 ineffective. So an average amount of missed tackles is 15 to 17. They're on the upper end of that at 17. Whilst on the average, they're on the upper end of the average at 17. And the ineffective tackles is fantastic. Only 1 ineffective tackle. Really good stuff. 5 to 7 is the average. They are 4 underneath that. 18 bad tackles in the first half through 187 tackles made. That's fantastic stuff. But the Warriors, they're also at 90.53%, so not quite at 91.22. They've had 153 tackles made, missed tackles of 10, ineffective tackles of 6. So their missed tackles are really good right now. Average of 15 to 17. They've only given up 10. That is 5 underneath the lowest of the averages. That's really good defense here from the Warriors. But the ineffective tackles are bumping up there. So 5 to 7, they're at 6. So they're bang smack in the middle of the average category. So they are 7 missed tackles below the Newcastle Knights, but they are 5 ineffective tackles above the Newcastle Knights. And they've made about 34 less tackles, which is why you're seeing that percentage come down. Overall, both these teams are defending here at a really high rate. The Warriors obviously had the advantage of that last 7.5 or so minutes of that first half where there was a man down for Newcastle and they scored there. Otherwise, it would have been 12-6. You know, prior to the sin bin, it was 12-6. So overall, I would actually say both these teams' defenses have been pretty good, even so much to say the Knights. Even the Knights, despite the fact they've given up 18 points and a half. Now, negative play. This is where you're losing the game here, Newcastle, even though the Warriors aren't too far behind. So 3 errors and below is really good. 4 to 6 is average, and 7 above is awful. Welcome back to Newcastle. It is 7 errors. So you are in the awful category. This is what we expect from you, unfortunately. This is what you need to remove from your game. 7 errors is really not good. And Warriors at 5, you're bumping up there. You know, you're in that average of 4 to 6. That is right in the bang smack middle of that average, but it's not good. That is not good. 12 errors in the first half is poor, especially from the Knights section there. But overall, you know, this is what you expect from Newcastle, unfortunately. That's what they need to fix. But also the penalties conceded. 7-2 against the Knights. 7-2. They have been severely ill-disciplined. And it's true, because they've been sin-binned. There was a sin-bin because of how ill-disciplined they were. The referee, Liam Kennedy, gave them a warning and said, listen, I've had enough of this. You're giving away too many penalties. You're giving away too many 6 against. 3 ruck infringements to 3. 1-1 inside 10 metres. 1-0 on report and 1-0 on sin-bin. But 1-0 on sin-bin. So, Liam Kennedy warned him. You can see here that he's correct in regards to the 6 agains and the penalties. They were building up because 7 is monumental. That is massive. That is huge in regards to how many penalties you've given away. So, with that sin binning, this Knights team is losing this game on the basis of too many errors and too many penalties. It's really basic stuff because their defense has been good. Most of the stats they're actually probably better in. You would argue that most of the stats in this game they're probably better in. Defensively, effective tackle percentage, they're better in. They have had more offloads, faster play the ball speed, better average set distance. Not the tackle breaks though, but not the line breaks. If you were to equal out the 79 to 97 on the runs, it's probably just in favour of the Knights there, really. And then it's just the completion rate. Again, it's the errors and the penalties. Otherwise, the Knights, you would have a chance in this game. But you don't have a chance in this game unless you fix those penalties and those errors. But all right, second half is about to get started here, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. I am going to continue with the Warriors. I tipped the Warriors before the game, and I'm going to tip again now. Obviously, things can change. We saw the Broncos come back from 14-0 down at half-time last night to the Melbourne Storm in Melbourne. Let's see if the Warriors can do it here. So thumbs up, subscribe, and let's see if the Knights can do it here, sorry. And it will be Vaimalga who brings the ball out to the 15. Andrew says, remember the Wars also have a lot of players out. Who? So you've got Luke Metcalf who's out, but also your team's been doing fantastic, but Luke Metcalf is out. Who else on a serious level are we talking about being out? Because right this very second, I would be making the argument. I wouldn't say a lot of players out. A lot isn't probably the right word. Mitchell Barnett is in this game. He's back. So there's Metcalf. Who else? Maybe Rocco Berry, but Rocco Berry is not like a staple point of the team. Luke Metcalf is. So, but where you're putting him in the 6, right? Because Tanner Boyd's been doing fantastic stuff. That's a good kick there from Tanner Boyd as well. That's going to bounce awkwardly, and Dane Gagai going to bring it back here to the 10 on first tackle. So you can only say, as long as you're putting Metcalf into the 6, because if you're taking Tanner Boyd out of the 7, well, you'll show, despite how good he's been so far this season, you need to put Metcalf into the 6 because it doesn't make sense otherwise to say players are out. You've only really got Luke Metcalf. Unless I'm missing somebody. Big Homie Dave says, g'day Mr. Streamer, g'day Mr. Big Homie Dave. Am I missing anybody, Warriors fans, on who you've got injured? That is critical to the team. It's the key emphasis here. That is critical to the team. Again, I'm not insulting Rocco Berry by saying that, but he's not critical like a halves position or the likes. I guess Harris Tavita, but again, that will just come down to the fact that you either choose Metcalf or Harris Tavita to come into this team. Chance, but the current fullback is a gun. Tane Topeki is great. Yeah, Chance another one. But Tane Topeki is great. That's the thing. Like, yeah, okay, the player's out, but Tane is fantastic. He is. So they do have a couple players out. I wouldn't say a lot of players out, but they do have a couple players out. They do. And Leka Halasima, he'll bring this ball to the 30 on third tackle. And so now the Knights are back to full strength. They do, that Simpin is over. Brent says, our defense has been nice to see from us, but I think we're gassed now and the Wars could steamroll us in the second half. This is what the Wars team have done in this opening few rounds as well. Tanner Boyd will bang this from the 35. Oh my gosh, don't let that go for 20. Jeez, they're lucky the ball bounced favourably for Fletcher Hunt, who'll bring it out to the 30. Seppin says, what's the fastest play the ball you've seen? The fastest play the ball I've seen was under 3. It was like 2.86 or something like that last year. Like right now, this play the ball speed is currently... where is it? Where's the stat? 3.3 seconds. So this is fast from the Knights. It's fast. There's not too many teams who go extremely fast. Tyson Frizzell to the 40 on fifth tackle. There's not too many teams that go extremely fast, which is 3.19 under. I've seen like in the 280, 2.8, which is just wild. Oh, Watani Lesnar knocks the ball on, and so he drops the ball backwards, and then it's a Knights knock on. Unless they say it bounces off of unless they're saying this comes out free into a Knights player, this might actually just be a knockback. Yeah, they're going to confirm backwards Warriors into a knock on from the Knights. So the Knights coming through here. They're 10 metres away. Dalmatese Lesniak goes up for it. Now let's just make sure that this goes backwards and doesn't bounce off of Dylan Lucas, who you can see he's winding up that arm to knock the ball out. Watch him. Watch the arm. Look at this. It's a great tackle. It goes backwards. It clearly goes backwards there from Watini Lesniak. And then Pasami Saulo, he's going to knock the ball on right after. Oh my gosh, wife resets the Wi-Fi but doesn't say anything. Awesome. I've had that before while streaming. I get that. Yeah, he just had to grab the ball there, Brenton, but the pressure got to him. It will be a knock on Newcastle. Warriors get the ball to 10. Similar to Sewer, fast, athletic, doesn't make any errors. Great young fullback. Yeah, Tane Topiki, yeah, similar. Tane, Sewer, and Keanu are very similar-ish players in the way that they play. Similar. Chase getting on the wires. Lagan says, Metcalf returning forces the wires to have two halves on the six-man bench. Tamati Martin, Chanel, unless you blatantly drop one of them. I think that you have to. I think you have to. I don't think there's any purpose to having both Tamati Martin and Chanel Harris-Tavita. And Tanner doesn't deserve to get dropped right now at all. He deserves to be the 7, and Luke Metcalf has to come back in. He should be the 6 for mine. Well, Warriors fans, you make the choice. You know, this is a professional sport, and winning is the most important thing, and sometimes you've got to make harsh decisions and hard decisions. This is why I say it's a very good situation the Warriors are in, where they've got a lot of really good halves that they can use. But it's a very bad situation in the sense that they need to make the right decision. So it's a great situation, positive, but it's a crucial situation because you go either one of two ways. You either go down a successful path, or you make the right decision and you go and win a comp, or you make the wrong decision and the halves look awful together and you lose one of those Warriors boys and it just doesn't work out. And then even if you try to fix it later on, it doesn't get fixed. Andrew Webster needs to make the right decision. And whether we know the right decision or not, we don't know yet. We have to wait and see. But he has a very crucial decision in front of him. That's ground for divorce, I reckon. 6 again here for the Knights at the 30. Grace Point says up the Waz. Andrew says Warriors are down 2 centres. Yeah, to be fair, the Warriors, the more you're making me think about it, you have got a few players out for sure. You do. You've got a few players out. So right hand side of Tyson Frizzell. Yeah, Rocco Berry and... Who's the other centre? Not Pomp. Who's the other starting centre normally? But Leah Tower is a guy that they really do want. Leah Tower has been solid. 4 tackle at the 35 here for the Knights. Tyson Frizzell at the back now to Gamble. Gamble over the top into Dom Young. Dom Young, great ball from Gamble. 20, 15, 10, 5. Good scramble defense from the Warriors. Tyson Gamble, you've had a game here today. Fit tackle 3 metres away. Crossland at the back into Gamble. Gamble dinks this ball on the knee. Pasami Sawula coming through. A little bit too hard. It'll be a 7 tackle set coming off the wires. Tyson Gamble's been fantastic, man. I was going to say that Tane Tuapiki touches this ball. This is actually going to be a dropout here to the Knights. What a ball from Tyson Gamble, though. Lager says, the more you look at it, the more you realise the wires are completely overstacked through the 1 through 7. Too many quality fullbacks, wing and centres and halves, I agree. Oh, he must have touched that just before it went over the and touched the line. So that's going to be a long kick there from Tanner Boyd. That's going to go back to the 48 on the other side of the field from the dropout. And Solo brings it out to the 40 on first tackle. Barnett slaps him down. Barnett and Jackson forward. But they do have multiple quality fullbacks. And they do have too many wingers. They need their centre depth right now. Depth is key, but they've got a lot. But the halves are the ones where they've got so much depth, but they need to make the right decision there. I tipped the Warriors here, original Para fan. You should know, though, if you watched my tipping video. Oh, knock on from Newcastle. Knock on from the Knights, and the Warriors are going to get the ball here at the 20. Tiger Hood says, I'm a fake Warriors supporter. I'm only around when we win. Yeah, look, fair enough. Look, fair enough. There's plenty of those. There's plenty of those around. Oh, they didn't even say that. They just said 0 tackle at the 20. I don't know why they just played it on. You should stop the play. But anyway, Rode the 2 of us and Shet gets the ball at the 25. Now our attack ain't clicking at all. Brenton says, well, you're not really going to have... Caleb Ponga is the most important part of your team. And more important than Dylan Brown for mine. And more important than Fletcher Sharp. But also your starting halves are out of this game. This is Tyson Gamble and Centre Smith. Centre Smith isn't the starter. It's Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Brown. And you also know fullback. So you're relying upon the experience of Phoenix Crossland right now. Forward tackle. You're relying on him to be the greatest spark. Because I don't think Sando's that good. And it's so strange that I've seen content creators saying he's their best half. You wish her. You wish her. So Vaymalga. They'll be 25 metres away from the line here on fit tackle. But I have liked Tyson Gamble today. I think Tyson Gamble has been probably the Knights' best player. By a long way, too, for mine. Fletcher Hunt will knock that ball on. They're probably going to say this is a penalty, though. I find this super harsh to blame Watchalong Lesniak. He's been blocked off from a run there. You can argue legally, but he's been blocked off on a run, and then because of the block off on the run and he's trying to get through, he's then gotten to the ball a little bit late. And then as Fletcher Hunt's coming down, he just kind of falls over him. And it's more even Greggy Martiu, really. You see what I mean? Like, he's kind of blocking. Yeah, that's Greg Martiu. That wasn't even Dallin. I don't even think Dallin Watchalong was the one who impacted that play. I think it was Greg Martiu. The more I hear that name, Tyson Gamble, the more I hate him. Not a big Tyson Gamble fan. I remember I used to dislike him. I don't care anymore, but I remember I used to. Tiger Hood with the $5 donation. Get on your Tiger Hood for the support. So if Warriors lose, I'll be back to supporting the Panthers or the Storm. That's usually the way it goes, mate. Yeah, that's usually the way it goes. When the teams start losing, let's back onto the successful teams. Dane Gagai will be at the 45 on third tackle. But thank you very much for the donation. And they'll be now 50 minutes out, 31.5 minutes to go here. I wish I could be a bandwagoner. Like, I genuinely wish I had it in me to just support another team. But I can't. I can't do it. I will always be a Gold Coast Titans fan. But I really wish that I had the ability to just say, you know what, I want to be a Panthers fan this year. You know what, I'm a Panthers fan this year. Up the pass. Warriors will grab the ball, the 3, take to a picky, and he'll be at the 5, first tackle. But I could never do it. I'm always a Titans fan, man. God bless me, please. Forgive me for my sins. 30 minutes to go here of the game, folks. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 30 minutes to go. The right hand side of Mitchell Barnett. Barnett's got a hole here. And he will get this ball to 30. Big Homie Dave says, Lagan, it's a byproduct of New Zealand development system, namely Union, where the majority of the juniors coming through will change now that Wars have created elite pathways that have been poached from Union. Yeah, fair, but Rugby League in the last couple of years has been absolutely capitalised on in New Zealand, and it is continuing to grow. Plus, also, if they bring in this Christchurch or Wellington team, that will just grow the game significantly in New Zealand too, with a rivalry between the two islands, North and South Island rivalry there, and you continue to grow in the Rugby League game over there in New Zealand. I think that I genuinely believe, I could be speaking bias here, you guys in New Zealand could disagree with this, but I genuinely believe that Rugby League is becoming the future of New Zealand. I really do. Look at the numbers. Super Rugby is in a really tough spot right now, and the All Blacks don't have as much third tackle at 25. The All Blacks aren't getting the same kind of 35. Aren't getting the same kind of support that they once did. New Zealand will be the 50. It's an interesting thought process. Hats off, that's a true supporter. I've spent many years in the cold weather for the Warriors. Andrew, mate, if you know me, I know that feeling, all right? I went to every single game for the Titans, like 3-4 years in a row, the last couple of years before I decided to travel. Great grab from Tane to a picky, the 13. Great grab. Yeah, no, my favourite year ever was 2024, where I went to every game for the Titans, home and away. And we lost our first 6 games in a row. Warriors fans, block your ears here. But we lost our first 6 games in a row going into Anzac Day, and we were travelling to New Zealand. So we'd lost like 3 home games. I had to travel down to Canberra, get robbed by Casey Badger as per usual, down in Canberra in the 89th minute of extra time. And then also we went up to Townsville. So I went to Canberra, and I went to Townsville first, and then went all the way down to Canberra, and then had to go across to New Zealand, and we were 0-6 or whatever. And on Anzac Day, that's going to be Tanner Boyd, the 45. He runs this ball. Run, Tanner Boyd, what a run! Left hand side, Fisher Harris! No! That's a beautiful try with the Waz. Oh, Tanner Boyd, you're a star, son. Fisher Harris will score. And that'll make up for me referring to that Anzac Day Titans clash in New Zealand the other year where we beat them for our first win of the season. And that's what makes it all worth it, man. Winning that. But what a play here from Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd fakes the kick. He spreads it to the right. He's 45 away, and then he just breaks through the line here. He's got Dallin Watchalong over there, but he gets it to Fisher Harris, and then Fisher Harris just runs it, and slams that ball down, baby, for a try. Tanner Boyd, remember the name. He has to be the 7. He has to be the damn well 7. Why don't you just call them Shitcastle, Lagan? What's your problem with Newcastle? Why have Newcastle just copped a stray there? I'm a very casual league fan, still learning, but who's a future star at 7? Zane Harrison, the Titans. He's a future star at the 7. Hasn't debuted yet. But Zane Harrison, Mitchell Woods at the Bulldogs. He hasn't. I don't think he's debuted yet for the Dogs, but Mitchell Woods is another one. That should be a massive one for the Bulldogs coming through. Jet Cleary, is he a 7 or a 6? I don't know much about him. Is Jet Cleary a 7 or a 6? But realistically, the two big ones right now that everyone's talking about is Zane Harrison and Mitchell Woods, is what I would say is the two incoming 7s. You can't change teams not right, brother. Just like me, I bleed green always, always will. Yeah, never will change. Never will change. So 27 minutes to go here of the game, and it's 22-6 with the kit to come. Oh, amazing run from Tanner. Tanner is their 7. Tanner Boyd, you are their 7. Again, still playing is wild. I was watching him like 14 years ago make my Origin dreams come true. Who are you talking about, Jim? Who are we talking about? 7 said, I tipped Penrith last night, even though Roosters fans didn't think we'd beat them, to be honest. What do you make of tipping against your team? Well, I tipped the Sharks against the Titans in... shaves the post and goes in. Tanner Boyd, he does not miss, baby. 24-6 with 27 minutes to go of the game. 24-6. No, I tipped the Sharks against the Titans in round 1. I think there's no point being a fan. I don't think... Well, there's no point trying to talk to people and analyse the game like I do here if I'm not going to try and be as unbiased as I possibly can and say, listen, I think this team's going to win. And even against the Dolphins, I said, look, the Dolphins probably going to win this game, but I'm going to tip the Titans because if there's a chance the Titans can win, I'm probably going to tip them. And I've tipped the Titans against the Cowboys because there's a good chance that we could get a win there. But I'm not going to tip the Titans against the Storm, and I'm not going to tip the Titans against the Panthers and whatnot, even though we pushed the Panthers all the way last year. So I think that it shows more about you as a fan if you do tip against your team. It doesn't mean that you're any less of a fan than someone who tips their team. It just means that the people who only tip their team will lose a lot of the time, especially if you're a team down the bottom end of the table here. So the Warriors will get this ball here at the in goal. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck gives it to Fisher Harris, who brings it out of the 10. So yeah, I'm an advocate. You can tip whoever you want, but that doesn't mean that you don't support that team passionately throughout that game too. I don't give a shit if I lose my tip, but I will tip the team that I think will win. Tiger Hood with the $5 return donation. Get around your Tiger Hood says, thought I'd give you 10 instead of 50 to Sky Sports. Good stream up the Wars, Panthers, Storms, and Broncos. See, Tiger Hood, so I appreciate you, bro. We do actually have to time you out for 5 minutes here, though. We do. We do actually have to do this. And the reason being is because you said Storm with 2 S's, and there's only 1 S in Storm. And we have a rule here on the channel, because the Storm isn't a plural. It is the only team in the NRL that does not have a plural, so we're going to have to see in 5 minutes. But thank you very much for the $5 donation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that one. But unfortunately, my friend, there is only 1 S in Storm. Knock on here from the Knights, and the Warriors are back on the attack, 12 metres away here from the line. Imagine giving money to Sky to be timed out. Imagine giving money to be timed out. Well, this is the thing. We've got to be fair on this channel. Rules are rules, baby. Rules are rules. The rules are rules. Everyone has to abide by them. But the donation is still very appreciated. Second tackle here at the 3. Second tackle. It'll be Wade Egan. He'll go out to the left-hand side. He gives off to Tanner Boyd at the 10. Short ball to Mitchell Barnett. And Barnett 3 metres away from the line. Third tackle. Wade Egan, he'll go out to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd! This man is the GOAT. Tanner Boyd is the GOAT, son. Tanner Boyd is the GOAT. Oh, he scored another try here, and it's 28-6 with a kick to come. Cheers to you, my boy. I'm so proud of him. Tanner Boyd, you beauty. You beauty, Jared. Well, Warriors, you're going to get a win here today, which is great. Well, next week, the Knights play the Bulldogs. The Warriors, you play the Tigers. Now, that's an interesting game over in Auckland. I want to see how the Tigers play tonight against the Rabbitohs. Obviously, we'll be live for that. Your first real big test is actually probably against the Sharks at Cronulla, who you have a pretty good record against, I feel, which is in 2 weeks. And then after that, then you take on the Storm down there in Melbourne. But they've just shown they're beatable, Melbourne. But you don't usually beat Melbourne Storm, but that's in a couple weeks' time. Round 6. In 3 weeks' time, you take on Melbourne and Melbourne. That'd be a good telling point. But round 4 next week, you could absolutely go 4-0 here. You could absolutely go 4-0. I wonder if there's any Warriors fan who still believes Metcalf should be their 7 over 10. I wonder. Mind you, you have to lock Tanner Boyd up because he's only signed for this year. Warriors fans, Tanner Boyd is only signed for this year. So right now, I can tell you Perth Bears are on the phone. The Perth Bears are definitely on the phone. They have signed Toby Sexton, to be fair, but I wouldn't be surprised if teams are making a call with Tanner Boyd, with him only having 1 year. David Hogan says the Warriors will win this year, mark my word. We're getting a bit crazy too early. Well, listen, go buy yourself some maybe this year merchandise if you believe that's the case. We're getting a bit crazy too early here, man. Very happy with the positives. I love what we're seeing from the Warriors right now. But let's slow down a little bit. Let's slow down a little bit. Slow down a little bit. Can't pay way over timeout. Can't do it, Serpent. Can't do it. Knights scored the first try here today, and then 5 tries in a row for the Warriors. Very similar to the game that we saw against Roosters Panthers yesterday, where the Roosters scored first and then the Panthers went and scored 40 unanswered points. Paul Smith is up the wires. Love you, mate. Forever a fan. Get around you, Paul. Appreciate it for the support, man. Other Bunny says, personally, when Luke Metcalf comes back, I'd put him in the 14 role. No. Oh, they're away again here. Jackson forward. Oh, no. No, he's okay, isn't he? Oh, he's just tripped over on the field there. 4 tackle at 35. They were away. The Warriors are pacing them apart now. They're just pacing them apart now. Go down the left-hand side. Give it to Lecker the Wrecker. This is because I feel like it would ruin the momentum of the Warriors. You have to put Metcalf back into this team, man. You have to put Metcalf back into the team. Wade Egan is down. God bless him. I feel like you have to. ISIS don't change the winning formula. Metcalf to the bench for the Reggies. Well, if you notice in the first 3 rounds, they have changed the winning formula. So Harris Tavita is injured right now. Harris Tavita is not there. So the first 2 games was Tanner Boyd and Harris Tavita, and they won. This game is Tanner Boyd and Luke Hansen. So they have changed, and yet they're still having the same kind of results here. I think you have to put Metcalf into the 6 because you've had the same result across the 3 games with 2 different halves combinations, but Tanner Boyd being the consistent one throughout. And Tanner Boyd puts that one up in the air. That's going to be knocked on here from the Knights. Knocked on there. Well, that's not knocked back, referee. You're blind as a bat, but sure. You're blind as a bat for sure. And they'll get a penalty as well. You're an idiot, referee. Liam Kennedy, that's just stupid. You knew that was a knock on, and then he gave away a penalty as well. Gave a penalty to the Knights. Anyway, point of the matter is that they can have the luxury of changing and putting Metcalf into the 6 because it's not like this change in halves affected their momentum. Maya says, haha, up to Waz. And says, how old is Boyd? Probably like 25, 26? I think maybe 25. Yeah, 25 years old, going on 26 this year. Yeah, I was spot on. So Wading will come off the field. Dan says, Metcalf will move to 6 and play the same role as he did for SJ. I agree. And I've been saying this since last year, even when Tanner Boyd wasn't really playing at his best footy. I still said Metcalf as a 6 someone. Other Bunny says, but like Tanner Boyd is having his best season yet unless you put Metcalf at 7 and Boyd at 6. What? No, Boyd is at 7 and Metcalf is at 6. What? Metcalf is... What? Boyd's not going at 6. You're not changing Boyd. That's a knock-on from the Knights. That's a knock-on for the Knights. So the Warriors will get the ball here at the 40 on their own side of the field. You get challenges and you're going to lose it. It's clearly knock-on. What are you talking about? Boyd is staying 7 and Metcalf is 6. Can we have an option of timing lagging out for a full round of the spin wheel? Oh, that's a great one. That's a funny one. Maybe like a day, not for like a 24 hours, not for a full round. That is, but to be fair, there is on the spin wheel tomorrow. There is the moderators can time out whoever they want for 10 minutes, as in all moderators are on the stream. Contact on the inside is clear. It's clearly knock on here from Dane Gagai. What are you challenging here, Newcastle? Bunker, it's going forward by about 2 metres here. It's a knock on Newcastle. Just hurry it up. Speed it up, son. Speed it up, champion. Come on. Yeah, just prior to the 40, and then it hits at the 20, basically. So, clearly knock on. Moving on. Coming to peak age, let's go. Absolutely. Cal J says, can Tanner Boyd come home? Well, funnily enough, the Titans inquired about bringing him back last year. They did. They inquired about bringing him back last year, and he said he wanted to stick with the Wires. And I respect it, you know. I respect it. I respect the loyalty there. And oh, Brett White. I didn't realise he was actually with Justin Holbrook this year. Interesting. Tiger Woods number. Yeah, it was only 5 minutes, bro. We have the rules of like if you say Storm with two S's in it, plural, because they're not the Storms, you get timed out, and also other niche little rules and whatnot. So that's just how it operates here. Second tackle at the 48. Don't worry, everyone gets done over by it at some stage. You should just watch when there's a Storm game on. When the Melbourne Storm are playing, there's multiple timeouts. Usually from Papua New Guineans, though. Usually because they don't know the rules and then they're all saying it right outside here for the Wires. And it's Jacob Laban at the 30. Fourth tackle. They'll go to the left-hand side, Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark at the back here to Hansen. Hansen goes at himself. 15 minutes away. Oh, Mitch Parnes, you're going to get timed out, my friend. Oh, Moderator got to slap you. Oh, my gosh. Watisa Lesniak coming in the air. Throws it back to Jackson Ford. Oh, he's lost the ball. Lost the ball. Mitch Parnes. Deary me. Deary me. Brighton, you're getting control of that. You slap him down. And Brenton. James, to be fair, I wouldn't mind Metcalf come back in cup to get his legs back and then bring him back at the 6. Sure, I don't mind when, but again, that's still 4 or so weeks away that we're thinking about. Actually, who do you play? They're going to the bunker here, by the way, to check this, but it's a no try. Who do you play round 8, which is when he's meant to be back? Round 8. Round 8, the Warriors will play the Dolphins in Wellington. Yeah, Jackson Ford knock on. You play the Dolphins in Wellington. It's not like that's an incredibly difficult game to come back in. Round 9 for the Warriors is against Parramatta at Combank. That's actually a pretty easy... it's a pretty good start return there for Luke Metcalf, to be fair. And then after that, the Warriors will then take on the bye. Yeah, it's great couple of rounds right after he's meant to return. And then after the bye, they will play the Broncos at Suncorp in Magic Round. They have the bye before Magic Round. Alright, so first tackle here for the Knights. They're at the 40 on their own side of the field. 20 minutes to go here of the game, folks. Hit that like button, subscribe. Don't forget, in about 45 minutes' time, we'll be live for the next game, which is the Sharkies versus the Dolphins in Cronulla. Before later on, we have the Rabbitohs play the Tigers at Gosford. David Hogan says, I'm worried that Metcalf may have been out for too long and not being formed. Sure, it's always interesting to see how a play comes back from a long-term injury, but at the end, that's a bad knock-on from Bradman Best. That is a bad knock-on for Bradman Best, and the Warriors get the ball here at the 40. Completely uncontested knock-on there. Like, sure, the concern's always going to be there, but you just have to back him in, man. At the end of the day, you don't know until you see it. So... I'm very heavy on Metcalf just comes back into the 6. Alex Weber says up the Warriors winning 48-6. Well, still, there's actually a chance of Fitty Bomb here. There is a chance. 20 minutes, 20 points. It's a chance. Oh, Tiger Hood, what's he said this time? I deserve it. Oh, yeah, you did it again, mate. You did it again. All right, so Roger brings it to the 45 on first tackle. Jazz, how you feeling though, Blaze? Great to see your boys Clark and Boyd get a meat pie. No, I love it. At the end of the day, I know those guys. I support them all the way. I love my Titans and I love my Gold Coast, but I will always respect the players that succeed elsewhere. I have a great respect for the game and also for them as individuals off the field and on the field. Like, I want to see them get their best work done. At the end of the day, Tanner wasn't working at the Gold Coast and, Aaron wanted to go home to New Zealand and that's completely fair and justifiable, having a family and wanting to be around his mum and his family and whatnot, man. So, no, it's completely understandable and I love it and I'd love to see the Wires go on and win with them. It'll hurt, it'll sting, but at the end of the day, like, I would love to see it. I would love to see the Warriors get it done. It goes up here. Well, there's a sin bin. Well, that was a player taken out. Well, there's a player taken out. Maybe not a sin bin, but that was Leka Halasin was taken out as he was going for the run there. Wasn't even a penalty. Big Homie Dave says, hear me out, Warriors fans. Harris Sevilla should move into the forwards and play as a ball-playing lock. He's average at best as a 7. I don't know about the ball-playing lock, bro. The lock right now is Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark is the 13. We back. Okay, we're back now. There's no way that Tanner Boyd shouldn't be getting the full credit for this game. There is no way that Tanner Boyd shouldn't be receiving complete full credit for the Dally M's. If he does not get the entirety of the points, if he doesn't get the entirety of the points, then I give up in regards to it. Dam says, GC fans give up. Tanner Boyd, one of us now. We even changed his name to Tanner Boyd. What do you mean GC fans give up, bro? There's not been a single Gold Coast fan here who's... Oh, I literally just said that I'm happy with Tanner Boyd at the Warriors. I believe in him. I'm back in the money. I even messaged him the other day telling him how proud I was of him. I still remember the first time I met him, and he was a young lad on the Gold Coast and just trying to make his mark. And he was one of the first. Oh, Tanner Boyd away again here at the 34. Oh no, he's throwing the ball straight to the Knights though. Unfortunately, great run, but then he was expecting a Warriors play to come through and wasn't there. I have full admiration for him. I remember one day when the first time I ever met Tanner, I was sitting down waiting for training to start, and I was on the benches at Parkwood, and he came over to me and sat with me, and we just had a conversation for 20 minutes as he was putting his boots on and whatnot. Like, he didn't need to do that. He knew all about the channel and all that kind of jazz, but he didn't need to do that. But that's how we started at the beginning, and I'll always respect him for making that kind of move in the intention to actually meet someone that he didn't know, because not all players do this. A lot of players will actually stay away from you because they'll think that you're some like obsessive fan, or they'll think that it's going to be all just about like getting free stuff or photos and all that type of stuff, and that's not really what we do here. But a lot of players some also will have an ego about them and just will think they're too good for you. That is a real thing in this world. There's a real thing in this game. There are a lot of players that do have a significant ego. Tanner Boyd has one of the lesser egos that across the entirety of the game. So he's a great dude. He deserves everything he's getting. He works hard for it. He's an emotional guy for the team and for the game, and I want to see him win it with the Warriors. I will actually go to the grand final with a Warriors jersey on and support him if they do go and win. Other Bunny says, I don't know, I was talking to a bandwagon like yourself, Dave. Oh, David says, hey, Other Bunnies, do you remember when the Panthers thrashed the Bunnies a few years back? What's happening? What's happening here? Yeah, I am. The audio's working now, yeah? Just to make sure. I think it is. So the Knights will get this ball to 30. The Warriors need Nathan Cleary. Nathan Cleary. Why? They're 3-0 right now without Nathan Cleary. Mitch Pine says, I'm back from my sim bin, but I want a captain's challenge. There's only one S in Storms. Mitch, you're getting timed out again. Stop it. Captain's challenge. You know what? You can call it referee inadequacy. You can call it bunker inadequacy. I don't really give a shit. Stop it with the plural. Stop it with the plural. You know it. You deserve it. 5 minutes. We'll see you in 10 minutes to go, Mark. Captain's challenge unacceptable. No more challenges available. They go to the right-hand side, and Dom Young is going to be at the 35 on 4 tackle. 30 points and 60 to the Wars. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Mitch. Alex says the Warriors need Nathan Cleary. I don't know. I was talking to bandwagon. Jared Farmani says it's crazy how Boyd has not received high marks. Dally M's. It's stupid. It is actually stupid. It's okay to have a soft spot for the Wars. Well, I just don't. The second team I'll always support over. Left hand side. Bradman Bears gets it off to Greggy Martiu. Greggy Martiu with the try time for Newcastle. 30 points to 10 with the kick to come. That's at least decent there for Knights. At least I'll get something. 30 points to 10 with a kick to come for Newcastle. Technically, they're only down by 18 points if they get the conversion. I will always say that my team's in order. Obviously, Titans, massive gap. Then if the Titans aren't playing, I'll go for the Sharks, my mum. If it's not the Sharks, then I'd probably get around the Wars. And then it'd probably be Manly for my dad, but I don't really care. But it'd probably be Manly for my dad. Never used to want to... I used to hate Manly, but now I don't care. And then, I don't know, really. Lincoln's starting to piss me off with the Knights, and he's always insulting the Titans. So it's like I'm starting to not have a soft spot for them overall, because one of their content creators is just always hating on the Titans. I'm just like, why? So it's like I don't want to see them successful for him at this point. I love him, like he's a good dude, but like at the end of the day, it's just like there's always a Titans insult out of him. So I'm like, well, okay, well then I'll just insult the Knights then if I feel the need. But who else would have a soft spot for, man? Don't mind a bit of Canberra. I think Canberra is a nice little soft spot as well. I didn't used to care for them, but now I've grown an admiration for them. And I guess Dragons kind of born there, but I still Dragons fans can be quite chirpy. But Nate J's a good bloke. Nate J's a good bloke. Outside Nate J, Dragons fans can be quite chirpy. All right, but then again, Warriors fans are the ultimate of chirp, to be fair. No, Bulldogs fans are the ultimate chirp, but Warriors fans are pretty close to the ultimate chirp. 30-12, which 30 minutes ago, but I still love them. Lomax has always wanted to play for a powerhouse like the Western Force since he was a kid, bro. Yeah, no, he's a massive fan of that. Give me 1 second here, guys. Give me 1 sec. Alrighty, we're back. We are back. So 13 minutes left here, and the score is 30-12, and they do get the kick, so at least they are still within 18 points technically. If you score a quick converted try, well, hello. So the Knights, they'll bring this ball out of the 20. Heke says, before the Warriors showed up, I supported Manly. So what are you talking about before 95? Because Warriors came in 95, no? They came in with the Cowboys, yeah, in 1995? Welks has come back next week. Are you asking me to come back? I'm here for every single game live. I'm literally every single game live. If you're a Warriors fan, I will be this week. I'm here every single game. I've got 2 more streams to go today. So they go out of the back, and they're away. Maybe Knights here. Fletcher Hunt's away. The 40, the 35, the 30, the 25, the 20. Halasima coming in. He takes him down to the 15 for tackle. Hey, Warriors, don't go to sleep right now because the Knights, they're putting on a little bit of a show here to try and come back. To give it out to Sanders Smith. Sanders Smith at the 10. He'll cut it back to Gamble. Gamble kicks it. Played out there by Halasima. This is going to be Knights ball. This is going to be Knights 6 again. All right. 6 again for Newcastle. They're 10 metres out from the line. First tackle. Joe says, sorry, Brenton, it looks like you missed the cut for good blokes. Well, no, Brenton's a great bloke. Second tackle now to 5. Out the back here, 2 for Zell. No, Matt Kroger, sorry. Kroger's going to be 2 minutes away from the line. Third tackle. What was Sharp doing? Well, Sharp's not playing. Do you mean Fletcher Hunt? Or did I say Sharp? If I did, I apologise. But I meant to say Fletcher Hunt. Fourth tackle now, 15 metres away from the line. That's wrong, big homie Dave. Knights win the award for most expensive injury list in the history of the NRL. It would be the, no, I know the context what you're saying. I thought you were saying like the most injuries. There's a time off the clock here because Jackson Ford's down, injured at the moment. God bless him. But I thought we were talking about like the most injuries, and that would be the Rabbitohs, obviously. But the Knights, yeah, Dylan Brown, Kalen Ponga, and Fletcher Sharp, sure. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. The number 7 from the Knights. Number 7 is Sando Smith. Sando Smith is number 7. Sean says, you're a dog supporter deep down. I love certain fans of the Dogs, but I couldn't... Oh, they're going to actually say that this is... Oh, Dane Gagai's come down with his elbow here. That is a grub dog shit play from Dane Gagai. Penalise the Knights for sure. That is a dog shit play from Dane Gagai. Yep, it's a penalty to the Warriors. Well done, referee, for calling that out. That is a bullshit play from Dane Gagai. He has deliberately come down with an elbow on the face there of Jackson Ford. That is so grubby. So anyway, I actually used to like the Dogs, and then I went down to a core stadium and got surrounded by like 30 Bulldogs fans at a Titans game once, and we lost in the last seconds. It was pretty brutal to go through. I was just abused the entire 80 minutes, mate. So I'm not a massive fan of Dogs fans, and when I was back, and not all, again, there's a lot of great Dogs fans, Emilio, Fareed, Touchline Boys, all these guys, right? They're great people. You, Shauno, Daz, you know, we've got some fantastic ones, even Lag, and I'll include you even though you're a Muppet, but there's some great Dogs fans, but there's also some piece of shit Dog fans, massive piece of shit Dog fans, and there was a good 20 to 30 people at that Titans game that were just absolute full on. And then when I was like 8 years old, I went to a Suncorp game with my dad. It was Broncos versus Bulldogs. 1 second, Warriors are at the 30. Tanner Boyd, he'll give it underneath to Fisher Harrison. He'll be at the 25 on 4th tackle. 10 minutes to go here at the game, folks. Hit that like button and subscribe. When I was like 8 years old, I went to a game with Suncorp, and I remember this was before the Titans existed. And I remember that I was sitting down with my dad behind the post, and there was this kid like actively supporting his team. Like he was probably about 16 years old, 15 years old. Knights get the ball, hit the 5, it'll be first tackle. He's probably about 15, 16 years old, supporting his Broncos, just cheering normally. And this big Bulldogs fan, like a massive dude, wasn't Lebanese or anything. He was just a straight up Bulldogs fan. Real tough unit though. Literally just turns around and just whacks him right in the nose. I'll never forget it because I was like 8 years old, and that was my first kind of like look into aggression in a lot of ways, because I come from a great family. I haven't really had to see any aggression like that, luckily enough and gratefully enough, and that was the first time I really saw like actual full-on violence, and I'll never forget it. And it was a Bulldogs fan who did it to a 15, 16-year-old Broncos kid who was doing nothing wrong. He was literally just supporting his team. So knock on from the Knights there. We Warriors bought the 45. So yeah, I do have my grievances with Bulldogs, but at the end of the day, I don't hate the Bulldogs. I just hate certain parts of their fan base who are aggressive, and they are aggressive, and they deserve the reputation for being aggressive. But I feel sorry for fans like you, and sorry for fans like Emilio and Farid and whatnot, who are fantastic fans, but have to cop the shit from those guys. So that's why it's very difficult to kind of back in and support the Dogs on a frequent level. So 8 minutes and 45 seconds to go here of the game. It's 30-12 to the Warriors, and the Warriors are going to get the ball 45 metres out. I think I'm valid in that thought process too. Like, Warriors fans can get a little bit dicey, but also when I went to New Zealand, they were amazing. They lost the game in heartbreaking circumstances to a team that hadn't won a game all season, and yet, I was treated awesomely by them. Like, they were so kind and respectful and lovely over there. The Warriors fans in Australia can be different. The Warriors fans who go to games in Australia can be very different to the ones at home. Charge down here from the Knights, and 6 again coming up for the Warriors with Sam Healy. Warriors fans in Australia can be quite aggressive sometimes, but Warriors fans in New Zealand are incredible. Incredible. First tackle now at the 20 for the Waz. The money says, sorry to hear that, BK. That must have been very traumatising. It was pretty full on, mate, but, this is life, This is what happens, man. Second tackle at the 20. It didn't turn into a violent situation. It very easily could have, but it didn't turn into a violent. That's a knock on there from Vay Malga, and Bradman Best will get this ball at 15. It very easily could have turned into a violent situation, but I don't bite into that kind of stuff. Broncos fans can be on the same wavelength. Again, every fan base has these dickheads. Every fan base has them. It's just the Bulldogs have probably quite a few more. Second tackle now for the Knights, and they'll be at the 35. Jared says, damn, that sucks. I've never heard that story before. That was disgusting. Oh, yeah. It's unfortunate. Mitch says, back from my second sin bin, just in time to say I'm also a Doggies fan. Well, there's nothing wrong with you being a Doggies fan. Again, I don't hate all Dogs fans, and I don't hate the Dogs at all, but I think you... that's going to be, I think, this is going to be Warriors ball at 20. No, it's not. It's going to be a knock-on. I will say it's a knock-on here from the Waz. I don't hate Dogs. I think you can understand where I'm coming from with my thought process, that it's very difficult to back you in because of the certain fans that you do have, but I don't hate the Dogs at all. Will Arnett's thoughts on Dylan Brown's chance of playing again this year? Thoughts on Dylan Brown's chance of playing again this year? How long is his injury for? Dylan Brown injury. How long is his injury for? With scans this morning confirming a grade 2 MCL strain, which will sideline... So it's an MCL strain. Which will sideline Brad for an estimated 4 weeks. He's only out for a month, bro. Oh, it's Warriors ball. It's actually a mistake from the Knights. It's Warriors ball. I mean, it says nice Warriors. Yeah, good stuff, man. First tackle. But they have fallen a little bit asleep in the last few moments, the last 15 or so minutes. So, need to end this game off well. Happy with how the Knights have gone despite... It's just their errors and penalties. They've been really ill-disciplined today. But overall, the Knights haven't been awful. They haven't looked anywhere near as bad as they did last year. And that's without Dylan Brown, Fletcher Sharp and Kalaponga. So they'll go to Aaron Clark. Aaron Clark for a double! Does he score? I don't know. Are they going to call this? No, they're going to say full tackle. Aaron's really adamant he got to the line there. He is adamant he got to the line, but they're not even going to look at it. Out to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd runs it himself. He's still going. He gets it off to Marata Niokore. And Niokore just had to go down here, otherwise an obstruction. So fifth tackle, 5 metres away. Go out to the left. 5 metres away. They give it to Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd will kick this ball across. It's going to be Halasima who grabs it. Then there's a knock-on from Jackson Ford, but there's a penalty here to the Warriors. Tanner Boyd, I think, has been taken out without the ball here. Oh, Biffo, someone throw an uppercut, you cats! Headbutt him! Elbow him! Slap him! Slap him! I love how I'm encouraging aggression and a fight right now as we're talking about how Bulldogs fans can be aggressive. Dan says, who remembers when Dogs fans in 2002 would go to away games within Sydney and run amok? Well, I'll give you an actual, I don't know about that one, that probably would happen. I don't disagree with what you're saying there, but back in the day, and I've said this before on stream, Belmore, for the Dogs, would be, you had to pay for a ticket for the first 60 minutes, but you could get in for free for the last 20 minutes, and people, the aggressive people, would actually just go to the game at the free time, and then go and fight random fans. So if you're an Eels fan, God bless you, you know, you're in a bit of trouble there, but back in the day, I'm talking like 50 odd years ago, at Belmore and stuff, it used to get quite, like, seriously dangerous, because it was free to get in after the 60th minute or something like that. And Trey Mooney's in the bin. Trey Mooney is in the bin. Trey Mooney's in the bin. Nehemiah says Tavita at centre up the wires. I don't think Tavita can get into the starting 13. I don't. I think it's Luke Metcalf 6. I think Tanner 7. I genuinely love Rocco Berry as a centre, but Leah Tower's doing well. Pompey's there. Chance is there. You've got to fit these guys in. Tate Topicki's great. Like, you've got to fit these guys in. This is a bin. Again, this is 2 sin bins here for the Knights. Mitch Pine says, as a Dogs fan, they're going to go for the 2 here. They are going to go for the 2. As a Dogs fan, I also think we actually do have the worst fan base. I disagree with saying, like, it's the worst fan base, but you just have more aggressive people than other fan bases. But I do think you're very passionate. With that being said, a lot of the Dogs fans, you're seeing massive crowds now. 5 years ago, you saw nobody. You saw nobody there. When they lost 66-0 to the Knights, there's nobody there. You know? So everyone always says, oh, Dogs have a massive fan base. Yeah, they do when they're going well. Everyone says the Warriors have a massive fan base. They do when they're going well. They also struggle when they're not going well, but they are going well right now. Warriors fans, they love to say a massive Warriors fan when they're winning. Not all. Again, there's a lot of great Warriors fans, but there is a lot of people who go when the Warriors aren't going well, they're the Auckland Warriors. They're not the New Zealand Warriors, and that's why they need that South Island team. Brian says someone knock out Lecker. Leave Lecker alone. Leave him alone. Delphina says, Kia ora, bro. Wires up back in the days of the Winfield Cup. I was a Bronx fan. My husband's a Rays fan now. New Zealand as a team. Wires up all day, every day. Church. Well, church. Kia ora. Get around it. The Warriors, they're on fire at the moment. I'm looking forward to seeing them take on the Storm, who they never beat, in 3 weeks' time in Melbourne. That's going to be a key one to watch. Their next 5 is the Tigers, the Sharks, the Storm, the Titans, and the Dolphins. Now, they've got the Tigers, which is an interesting game. We'll see how the Tigers play tonight against the Rabbits. But then the 2 tough away trips to Cronulla and Melbourne. They play the Titans at home, but as you guys know, the Titans are a bit of a bogey team for the Warriors over the last 6 years. The Warriors did beat the Titans the last time they played them, but also last year in New Zealand, the Titans also won, and this game will be in New Zealand. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out, even though you should win. You should win that one, but they are a bogey team for you. So that is going to be a penalty to the Warriors here at the 30. Home of the NRL says Tanner should definitely have more Dally M points, but can't knock off how well Jackson Ford has been playing. Jackson Ford has been incredible, but Tanner, if he doesn't get the full points for this game, you give up. Roger says that 50 years ago, that was your dad. My dad? What? My dad's a Manly fan. My dad's not a Bulldogs fan. My dad's never been like that aggressive kind of fan. He's very passionate for his team, but he doesn't really. He's not even from Manly. He became a Manly supporter because he's actually from, because his mum is a Balmain fan. She's a Tigers fan. My grandmother. They were in Leichhardt, but one time his mum went to visit one of her friends in Manly, and she lived in a this lady had a beautiful house on the beach, and and Manly was amazing, and apparently this lady was really, really attractive. She was hot, and Dad said, "Okay, I'm a Manly fan." Seriously, because this lady was really hot and lived in a great house in Manly, he became a Manly fan when he was like 7 years old. Dead set. That's like the story. That is the story of how my dad became a Manly fan. The guy's a Fruit Loop. I love him. He's a Fruit Loop. So Tanner Boyd detained to a picky. They're 18 metres away from the line on 5th tackle, 2 minutes to go here. BT says, I reckon Tanner Stowers over Laban once Kurt Catewell comes back. Maybe, but Tanner, what, you don't like Jacob Laban? They're going to get this ball here, Dom Young, and he will offload the ball. It's a penalty to the Warriors. Jeez, Knights, you have been awful on the discipline today. All on the discipline. Brighton says your dad's a wise man, respect that. Because of some random lady that was like 30 years older than him that he thought was extremely attractive, he became a Manly fan for life. Like, he's a Manly fan for life because of that random lady who lived in a decent house in Manly. But he'd be grateful because he didn't have to put up with the Tigers' struggles this last 15 years. Unbelievable. Big Homie Dave, worst fan base will be the Bears. Fan base will just be a bunch of geriatric rich boomers from North Sydney, a bunch of turncoats, and Gina Reinhardt. I love that. That's funny. So Vane Malga is 4 metres away here from the line on second tackle. Can the Warriors put one more over here just before the end of the game? They give it to Marata Niokore. He's gotten close a couple times. He'll be half a metre out. Yeah, the things us men do for women, get around it. Yeah, but she was like 30 years old, and he was like 8 years old, 7 years old, or whatever. So give it off to Tanner Boyd, then off to Sam Healy. And he'll be 5 metres away from the line on fourth tackle, 45 seconds left here of the game. Wade Egan. He'll kick that ball over the top, and they'll be caught by the Knights, and that should be the game with 37 seconds left. Well, Warriors, you win by 20. You had to win by 24 or more to go first. But winning by 20, you'll be on plus 78, which is 4 points behind the Panthers. But you will be equal first, but if you had scored a try just then, you would have gone into first. But now you will finish off the weekend in second. I don't think you're complaining. Knights, you lose 20, so you'll be plus 10. You go below the Tigers now. If the Sharks win, they go above you. You go to 7th. If the Rabbitohs win by 8 points or more, they go above you. Or if the Dolphins... No, not the Dolphins. Oh, no, because, sorry, the Rabbitohs... I guess with Tigers plus 28, the Rabbitohs could still go above you and the Rabbitohs if... Oh, hold on a second. Tatum Pearson is scoring. You're in first. I know it's Luke Hanson. It's a try. Out of nowhere, the Warriors pick the ball up and you're in first place. The very last play, the Warriors have just scored and you are in first place. On the very last play, the Warriors have just picked the ball up and they've scored, and the Warriors are now in first. Well done. Scores in the final seconds, Luke Hanson. I was looking at the ladder. So Tyson Fussell kicks the ball over. I don't know why he did that. And then Watani Lesniak picks it up. He breaks away from a couple of tacklers, gets the ball offloaded to Tate Torpicki. He breaks to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, and then gives a try to Luke Hanson under the post to score. Tate Torpicki should have just scored it himself, really, but he wanted to give Hanson, I guess, his first try in NRL career. The Knights kicking that ball from Fussell is just so ridiculous, man. So unnecessary. But well done to the Warriors. You are now on top of the ladder. It's round 3. I have to remind myself, but good on Hanson scoring on debut. Well, he's been given literally just a freebie try from Tane. Tane was over the try line already and just passed it to him, but good on him for getting the try, yeah. Yeah, it is round 3, Warriors fans. But it's good science. It's fantastic science because your attack has improved. 42, 40, and now 38 points. You're scoring a lot of points right now, Warriors. You are scoring a lot of points, and the final score is going to be 38 points to 12. Well, that is a 26-point win, and now you go from 4th position on 4 points and plus 58 to 1st position on 6 points and plus 84. You are 2 points differential above the Panthers right now. They're plus 82, you're plus 84. That is huge there. On the very last play of the game, that is huge to put yourself up there in the first, because it's just good confidence, man. It's great confidence. Now, next week you play the Tigers in Auckland. You actually don't play the Panthers for a long time. The first time you play the Panthers is in round 13 at CommBank Stadium in Sydney. And then you play them again in Auckland in round 23. So there'll be some good matchups there. But the next games that you really are looking towards, obviously Sharkies in round 5 in Cronulla, and Melbourne in Melbourne in round 6. So, yeah, look, Warriors, you got to be super happy with this, dude. This is really, really good stuff right now. Really good stuff. Troy says, do you think they will make top 4? If not, who is your top 4? It's round 3, man. Like, right now, the Warriors and Panthers are definitely looking like they're boltering them spots in for top 4. But the Warriors did do a lot of this last year and then fell off. But it's just their attack still wasn't great, but they were amazing defensively. Right now, their defense is good and their attack has really improved. I'm going to do a rejigged, like, ladder prediction kind of deal where you kind of go over and see what you predicted and what you would change. I would dramatically change the Warriors, for sure. They would rise well up the table right now, but I'll do that after round 7. After round 7, we'll do a live stream, and I'll do a rejig of the ladder. I'll do a rejig of it, and I'll probably have the Knights higher. I know this game doesn't look like great for it, but there is excuses for them today. But I'll have them higher. Not too much higher, but higher. Warriors I'll have significantly higher. I didn't back in their attack pre-season, but their attack has improved, so they'll go well up the ladder for mine. And there'll be a few teams that do change around. But there we go, guys. That is the end of that game. Warriors win 38-12, sorry. We're going to see you for the next game in 15 minutes' time, which is the Sharkies taking on the Dolphins in Cronulla. Which should be an interesting game. This stream will send you immediately over there. We've got it set up where it will send you straight over to that stream. So we'll see you on that one. And then later on tonight, we have the Rabbitohs versus the Tigers. I hope you have enjoyed. If you're a Warriors fan, you're flying right now. You are flying 3-0 and at the top of the table. Good stuff for you. And I hope I have made an enjoyable commentary for you. I'll see you in 15 minutes' time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.